on your team that were like gentlemen. Like there's nobody
Yeah, but
offers like a ride because it's
we all went
raining.
our ways. We all went our
Okay.
separate ways. So they
All
all
right.
were struggling. They drank more than I did. They drank, I think, like 3, 4 liters. Like they drank a lot. We were at a beer garden.
Ooh, nice. That does sound nice though. And by the way, and where I am, it's already summer, but we're getting to summer and it's getting good. Like this is a great time of year. Like this month is flying. It's already May 22nd. And, like where you are, where Curtis and I are, we don't need to thaw out. But where you are, it's like thawing out. It's the best time of year. Baseball is going on. Weather's good. Every once in a while you might get that. Like I lived back in Detroit. We had a snowstorm on like May 8th one year. And I was like, come on, man. I mean, I remember rolling down my window in the morning going and sticking my head out the window and going, come on, like, no. But you're pretty much over that. It didn't stick. Next day, it's fine. It's like May 22nd. That's a good day, right?
Yeah. No, yeah. No, it's good. Everything. This was like it was kind of like other than the rain, like it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching sports, listening to music. The vibes are high already. Come on now, on a Thursday.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Curtis, how you feeling? Everything good?
Yeah, I don't know what day it is. It's a day. Forgot that it was a holiday weekend because I still work on those, so it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I will be. I know I'm working all weekend long. I don't even think about it like that. That's how sports media is.
Wall-to-wall lacrosse coverage over here. Yeah. It's exciting stuff.
Oh, very nice. Lacrosse, by the way, cannot be that difficult. I know, Addie, where you are, it's a big thing. Lacrosse cannot be that difficult because I was a college lacrosse player. And I picked it up in college. No, I swear I promise. It's a true story. I couldn't play any other sports. Like, that was the end of the line for me.
On your free time?
No. I was terrible at it, but it was really cool because you had the gear on and stuff, and girls would watch you, and you're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, I'm on the lacrosse team. And they didn't want to come watch or anything like that, but watch me just sit on the bench and every once in a while get into the game and kind of screw around and have guys scream at me. But, it was a good time because it was the end of my
Lane Kiffin and Ed Orgeron?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That was it for me. I was like, baseball, no. Football, too small, too slow. White guy, like, can't do it. And then I went for lacrosse, like, sure, whatever, we'll take you. Except for the end of the line really was we played BYU one day. And you were just talking about drinking. BYU, like, those guys could run up and down the field. I was a midi, so you had to run, the whole way, all day. It's like when you're a kid, you play soccer, and if you're a midfielder, you have to run both ways. Well, that was me. But BYU doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. What do you do? So it's like, that was the end. I was like, I can't do this.
What do you do?
Yeah, exactly. So I was drinking, I was smoking. It was like, why am I playing? Why are we playing? Who scheduled these guys? These guys could run all day.
Wait, where did you go to school?
I went to Utah State, which is basically the Harvard of the West.
You mean Pac-12's Utah State?
Yeah, they're actually the Pac-12 now, which is a big deal. But it's not really the Pac-12. It's just a stinky conference that calls itself the Pac-12. Anyway, good morning to everybody, and in a tremendous mood today. One quick thing I want to just bring up, and then we can all have fun the whole rest of the show. Is anybody else as tripped out by this whole Kyle Busch story as me? Like, I'm not a NASCAR fan, okay? Not a NASCAR fan. However, this is a crazy story. Somebody who should have been fired for putting me in this position, because I'm not management material, decided that I could run a radio station in Dallas. And as part of that, working for ESPN, they flew me to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Never been to a NASCAR race, nothing like that. It was a night race. And I don't know if you've ever been like on an infield at a NASCAR race in a true NASCAR city, but it's kind of like Mardi Gras. Like the night before, and you got all these motorhomes and in the infield, and it's bananas, and people are driving around like golf carts and rolling them, and people, it's an all-night thing, and it's like pit crews, and it's crazy. So I do this thing. I meet all these drivers. I actually went through like Joe Gibbs Racing with Tony Stewart and Denny Hamlin and all these guys people don't know, big-time drivers. And so I got a feel of it. You can actually, right before races, you can walk into the garage while they're starting the cars. I mean, it's really cool. I'm not saying I know anything about it. I'm just saying one time at band camp, I went into one of these, and it was really cool. And these drivers are accessible. Like, I see why people like it, because it's like the anti-sport. It's the sport for the people, because you have access to drivers and, all this different. It's 150, 200,000 people. It's a massive party all weekend. It's crazy. So I'm coming at it from that angle, but more so, even if you're not a sports fan, like Kyle Busch was 41 years old. I remember him for getting in all these different fights. And then if people didn't hear like the radio transmissions last weekend, like dude is like, yeah, I think I have a head cold. This is, I just, I need a doctor to meet me here, but it's just, I'm congested. And after the race, they go, hey, we heard on the, because again, you can hear all this stuff. Hey, we heard on the transmission there that you weren't feeling so good. How you doing? Oh, it's just, I think he said allergies or, head cold or something. And then like 3 days later, the dude's 41 and he's gone. And then, look, like I said, I'm not a NASCAR aficionado, but I'm driving in today listening to a national broadcast, and I heard one guy kind of giving a eulogy about him, called him LeBron James. Another guy said he was Michael Jordan. I don't know that I would go that far, but it's like, my gosh, man. And like 3 days ago, the guy's racing. He just won a race, and the famous quote from him was, geez, you never, I cherish these because you never know when it's going to be the last one. And I was like, whoa, man, crazy. So anyway, I'm not saying I'm a NASCAR insider or anything. I'm just saying, man, a 41-year-old dude who was one of the top in his sport, I don't know that we've ever seen anything like this. I don't know that there's anything to compare it to, because like if you want to say like Hank Gathers or something, he died on a court like that. This guy was like just 2 days ago, like, yeah, I'm cool. I just have a head cold. Then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that was crazy.
I was reading something last night because it was crazy. Whenever that notification came through, we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Like my friends and I, it was just like, oh. And somebody was saying that there's a chance that, the head cold was exacerbated because of the G's and everything like that, and if, like maybe
Right.
that did something like actually like made it worse, and then it's just crazy. Like I was like, whoa, like they called it a severe illness. I was like, sinus infection, a head cold. So I
Right.
really think something. I don't want to just like be like a conspiracy theory, but like it seems like that
Right.
kind of like exacerbated it, and it's really sad because I mean he had
Well, that's
kids
what
and his
everybody's
wife and everyone.
right. Yeah, they just showed a picture. I think one of his sons just turned 11.
Yeah.
Good-looking family. They're in the backyard. I mean, these guys, again, in certain parts of our country, these race car drivers are gods. And this was a guy that had a ton of success. I think he was a 2-time champion, all this kind of stuff. And again, he very well known. Like I said, kind of as a hothead type, was in a lot of fights, had calmed down over the last number of years, and he kind of seemed to kind of flip, and everybody was, a lot of people were a big fan. And again, I know how NASCAR works. Everybody's kind of got their team and, all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure there was a lot of people who still didn't like him, but just there was a heck of a lot of respect in this whole thing. And if the other thing that crossed my mind yesterday was, when these drivers pass away, like a Dale Earnhardt or something, it's in the car. Like they hit a wall, something happens. Like this guy's 41. He didn't die in a car crash. So this whole thing, like you said, is really strange. Just everything around it. And, they're going to do all the tests, and we're going to find out exactly what happened here. But for a guy who just won a race, for a guy who was just, saying on a radio transmission that he has a head cold, and then all of a sudden for it to turn into this, like nobody really has any answers. I'm just saying, like, as far as sports stories are concerned today, like that's number one. And we can move on, and we can have our fun because that's what we like to do here. But man, I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that just yesterday, I was the same way as you guys. Like all of a sudden, I'm just kind of, okay, what are we going to talk about on the show? And I'm like, what the heck happened here? Just a really
Sad.
crazy story. So anyway, just to acknowledge that's going on. So good morning, Drake Toll Show. John Lund is in for Drake right here on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. Curtis and Addie are here as well. We'll get more into the NBA playoffs in about 10 minutes, but just to hit the treetop, since we wanted to bring that up, the Knicks up 109-93. They beat the Cavaliers. They're up 2-0. Not taking anything away from the Cavaliers. I don't think, I could be wrong, of course, I don't think there was a game one hangover. Speaking of hangovers, Addie, not that I'm accusing you of having one, but the hangover effect, I don't think that's what it was. I was kind of watching for that at the beginning. Like, they lost a 22-point lead with 7 minutes left in the game. I was like, what? This didn't seem to be that. It just seemed to be New York kind of turned the screws defensively. Jalen Brunson did what he did, but after the game, they were talking to some Knicks players, and they're like, Karl Anthony Towns, and he was saying, yeah, we turned up the defense, and that's kind of what it is. And then the thought is just, I don't know why anyone would ever trade for James Harden. Like, I think I read an article. Oh, I don't know. I did read an article. I don't think I read an article. I did read an article like 2 days ago that said basically the Cavs are ripping up the final year of his deal, and Harden's going to get an extension. He's 36 years old. He's not exactly in great shape like a LeBron James or a Steph Curry. I don't think he's going to be great for a long time, but he's been so horrendous defensively in this series. Like, everybody is posting videos of the blow-bys. He had 18 last night. So for a James Harden, that's not a horrible night for him, but generally speaking, he's a horrible playoff performer. I've covered a bunch of his series, and honestly, guys behind the scenes on the other teams just laugh at Harden. Like, he's just going to stink. In the previous series, he was asked by a sideline reporter about his struggles, and he kind of looked at her like, "Who, me? I don't have playoff struggles." It's like, dude, that's who you are. So I just don't think that any team that employs James Harden can win anything. It wasn't just on him last night. I give the Knicks credit more than I say that the Cavs lost the game, but New York leads this series 2-0, and I really think the Cavs have as much or more talent. I just don't think they have the right guys, and I think the Knicks are going to go to the finals. Now we can get into the question of whether they can win the West or whatever, or they can win the championship and beat one of the teams out of the West. But I know the story is the Knicks, but if I'm the Cavaliers, it's like, no, James, you can move on, man. We're good.
At what point do we sit him? At what point do we bench him a little bit longer? At what point do we say, hey, maybe you should sit here and watch how you're supposed to play defense? This is what you're supposed to do. When do we do that? Because it's a cancer on the court. He has a cancer on the court. He's not getting any better. This is a known thing that's not like, oh my gosh, this is a shock. James Harden had a bad game. No, it's every game. He sucks every game. So at the same time, like, the Knicks, they're a very good team. But the Cavs are just shooting themselves in the foot, it feels like, just having him out there. He's a liability.
Yeah, it was. It's kind of like what Minnesota used to have to do. Like, Rudy Gobert would be great in the regular season, and then he'd get ISO'd defensively, and you couldn't play him. And it's getting to that point with Cleveland and Harden, because defensively, if he's not making up for his defensive lapses, and at the beginning of his career he was a horrible defensive player, then he kind of was at least decent enough, and now he's getting to the age, and I just don't think he really cares all that much, it doesn't seem, but it's blow-by after blow-by after blow-by. When the Knicks came back, people know this, but I'll say it anyway, because that happens a lot with me, is that but I say it anyway, is that, they're down 22, and the Knicks clearly decided, the way to get back in this game? We're going to ISO James Harden again and again and again. And when they showed the highlights, every single one was number one for the Cavaliers, with kind of half-assing his hand up in the air, and then the Knicks are just scoring every time. Crazy. And like you said, at one point you say, okay, if I'm just using a number here because this is generally, last night he was 6 of 15, but if Harden is shooting like 30% from the floor and he's 1 for 6 from 3, he's a great name. But on the defensive end, it's just blow-by after blow-by. And I didn't get a bonk for that. And on the, thank you. You are slow this morning. But anyway, and then on the offensive end, he can't hit shots. Like, again, let's go to Office Space. What would you say you do here? Like, what are you doing?
What would you say you do here?
What would you say you do here, James? My God.
I feel like any other, because this happens in other sports, and you know what? Oh my gosh, Addie's about to make a baseball reference here. Ohtani was sucking for hitting. He was only pitching
we got to
well.
talk about him today.
What did they do? They benched him for a little bit. They said, hey, you don't need a DH. Just get back into it. Why can't we do that with James Harden? I understand that these are high-leverage situations. It can't get any worse. You haven't won a game yet versus the Knicks. I understand it's only 2-0. The Knicks are up 2-0. But you haven't won anything yet. Like, you got to try something.
Yeah. We'll get more into the playoffs as well. We'll continue to talk about this series, and we'll get into the OKC San Antonio side of things. I think Oklahoma City is ruining basketball, and I think it is the number one issue in basketball, but there are all these other things that the NBA wants to take care of, but we'll get into that conversation. By the way, I think the last time I was here, in fact, I know it for a fact, was May the 4th, and we did the whole May the 4th be with you, and I was thinking about this before the show because we had a know-it-all caller from Louisville, and he called up and was railing on that the Knicks wouldn't do anything. I can't remember his name, but remember he talked for like 7 straight minutes and didn't even take a breath. And I think he said he was just like, Knicks are going down and Philly's going to beat him and all that stuff. So you can be our one caller of the day at 310-840-4910. 310-840-4910 on the Western One Sports Talk and text line. Like, he called like right out of the gate, right? I was like,
I loved it.
Honestly, talked for like 7 minutes. It was awesome.
I wanted to put him down as a guest on the show. It was great. He had his little spot.
You should have. Yeah, I can't remember his name, but he called. He called from that. He corrected me about Louisville, and I still just mispronounced it. And then he went on a 7-minute tangent. I think it was wrong about just about everything that he said, but it gave us a 7-minute break to kind of get everything together.
Big gooner.
Up a little bit. Yeah, it was nice. It was very, very nice. So anyway, all right, we'll continue with the NBA playoffs coming up next. We'll finish our conversation about the East. You are more than welcome to chime in, and then we'll get into the OKC San Antonio side, which I think is the varsity of the whole thing. We'll do it next. Drake is out today. John Lund in. It is great to have Addie and Curtis on this Friday as well, only here on Westwood One Sports and, of course, the Westwood One Sports app.
interesting per se.
In the meat.
Yes. Welcome in, Drake Toll Show. Drake is out. Will Drake be back on Monday? No, he won't be back on Monday, will he? He'll probably be back on Tuesday because it is a holiday. Holiday, I tell you, on Monday. Enjoy your long weekend. Drake Toll Show with John Lund in. Addie and Curtis, though, they're here. Are you guys in on Monday?
What?
No, my boss advised me to take the day off.
Advised her to take the day off. I'm still here.
He was like, I strongly
What's that all
encourage
about?
you take the day, because I don't take days off ever. Even when I'm out of town, I don't take days off. I think I took one day off, and the thing is that I still woke up at 4 in the morning because Drake forgot I wasn't working, and he texted me panicking.
Oh. I think I'm doing this show like July 3rd or something. You're not working that day. You just said you don't take days off. You're lying straight through your teeth. I was texted, and I was upset because they said, well, here's the thing. Because I like you guys, and like July 3rd, he said, our big boss goes, but here's the thing, you're going to have a different producer. And I go, well, I don't want to do it. And he goes, you said you already would. And I said, well, you fooled me because you didn't tell me who was going to be there. Because I don't mind getting up and talking to you guys for a few hours. It's not really like working. But having somebody else, I just don't know. I don't like the unknown.
So
yeah,
those are the first vacation days I've asked off for the summer. My Armin literally responded with, is that it? That's all? But wait until I tell him that I just booked a flight to England. Armin, get ready to hear which days I want off.
Very nice. Very nice. Welcome in. We'll talk NBA playoffs. Give us another 60 seconds just because we were talking during the break, and I want to let everybody in on what we're talking about during the break because you were saying last night that, right, you were responsible, it sounds like to me, because you sound like you're here today, mentally, physically, everywhere else. So you went out, but you were responsible. You took the train back. And for those who live in a big city or live in a city that has a train, there is probably not a crazier thing. Maybe a bus. Probably a bus is because I have, in my lifetime, taken like a Greyhound a fair amount of distance, and maybe that's the craziest thing I've ever done. But maybe second is a large city train because in San Francisco they have what's called the BART system. And it goes through Oakland and by the stadium, and you would leave like a Raiders game, for example, late night, and you're like, I just want to sleep. I just want to sleep on the train. And then you'd look next to you, and there was a guy like lighting up a crack pipe, and you could smell it. And you're like, it'd wake you out of your sleep, and you're kind of looking, and he's looking at you like, what? I'm just smoking a crack pipe over here. What's the big deal? And I was like,
that was actually Curtis. Curtis, by the way.
They don't let me leave the building, so it's definitely not me.
Yeah, it's not you. Yeah, it was just, there'd be things or there'd be, I remember I was taking it one morning and there was a guy next to me and I was like, he might have an issue because he had not a pint, not a mini bottle, not a pint, not a quart, not a fifth, a half gallon of Jack. And it was just, that was like, he was drinking it like it was his morning coffee. Taking large swigs
That just seems like a guy trying to have a good time. I'm not understanding the issue in that one, actually. We were talking about last night how we should have brought our beers to the Metro because we had to wait 15 minutes at the beginning.
Hey, a beer is fine. I'm not, look, I live by I have a mantra, and this is probably number one of all my mantras. You do you. Like, it's, I wasn't judging. I'm simply saying that at 7:30 in the morning, I don't know, your liver's probably like, no! Some people do coffee. Some people, like, I can't even do sodas. I got a friend that's hooked on, like, Diet Pepsi. He drinks, like, 5 or 6. You can see him. There was a guy that did a morning show ahead of me, and I'd walk in there every day at 10 in the morning to do the midday show, and there was, like, 6 to 8 Diet Pepsis in the garbage. And it was like, whatever. It wouldn't be me. I wouldn't do that. I'm a typical the thing. That wouldn't
not
be
6
my,
to 8, but
right. Yeah, exactly. I could have said
6
that.
to 9.
I didn't say it.
Oh.
So, hey.
Oh.
Everybody has their thing. If you want to swig Jack, if you want to smoke crack, like Dr. Seuss over here. You want to smoke crack? You want to drink Jack? Like, you do you. But, when it wakes me out of my stupor when I've had too many and I've been at a game all day and then I look over at a guy smoking crack and it wakes me up, that's unusual. But, yeah, trains are interesting. Anything happen on the train? Anything of that ilk happen on your train? Or was it just nice and easy?
I've had a million things happen on the train, and I'm shocked that it was nice and easy. Everybody was, just wanting to go home. I think we were probably the ruckus on the train because we couldn't stop laughing. I think we were the people. They were like, "Oh God,
You were
the
that
crackheads."
group.
We were the crackheads.
Yeah.
Curtis, do you still have the NFL draft sound?
No.
Oh, it's
Oh,
my
cool.
favorite. This is my favorite sound in the
Great,
world.
because we have
He
someone
just
who
doesn't
wants to
want
be
to
the
play it.
caller.
I can see it in his face.
Yeah, we have
I can see
someone
it
who
in
wants to
his
be the
face.
caller of the day, and Curtis doesn't even want to
Oh,
play.
seriously?
Yeah, and Curtis doesn't even want to play the sound.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh no, that's it. Dun, 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 dun.
Big Gooner.
I love that sound.
Wow.
That's such a great sound. We really have a caller?
Yeah, James in Tacoma wants to be the caller of the day.
I think I know James in Tacoma because I do nights. James in Tacoma calls. If I'm wrong here, James, welcome to the Drake Toll Show with John Lund, with Addie, with Curtis on Westwood Run Sports. James, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be, do you work for the Mariners? Aren't you a part of security or something for the Seattle Mariners
Yes.
there in Tacoma?
Yes, that's me.
Yeah, see that? Told you. Yeah, I told you. And James has great stories. Like, hey, will you tell Addie one quick story before you get into what you're going to get into? We got plenty of time here.
Okay.
Wasn't there a person, I think you told me this, maybe it was opening day or something like that. Wasn't there a person who, like, tried to bring a gun in, or didn't a woman try to, there was like a baby carriage? What was that all about? What was that story? Didn't you tell me that story?
As a Seahawks,
Or I dreamed that?
Seahawks game a couple of years ago, a guy had a loaded gun and baby stroller, and he said that because he has a concealed weapons permit, he should be allowed to take it into the stadium.
Yeah, in a baby stroller.
What?
This is my little baby. Oh, isn't it cute? What's that, a 9mm? I mean, come on, man. Was that a Glock?
Yeah.
He was right. He was bringing it in a gun in a baby stroller, and actually said because he had a concealed weapon permit, he could bring it in. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I know.
Two
But
funny
thank God
stories I got
James.
for you.
All right, James, go right ahead.
Two funny stories I got for you. Mariners game the other day, they had Josh Naylor bobblehead giveaway night, and they also had $11 game tickets. So we had a guy show up. He bought 20 game tickets for $220, and by doing that, he was able to get 20 bobbleheads. And he said to me, I could care less about the Mariners. I just want to make a profit. So you go ahead and sold those 20 bobbleheads on Craigslist or eBay someplace for like $40 each to make a profit.
That's incredible.
God, people are smart nowadays. I
Yeah.
wouldn't think that Josh
should quit
Naylor
and
would
do
have
that.
that kind of demand. You know, he's not having a great year, but I mean, yeah, people love bobbleheads, which is a whole nother discussion in and of itself. Like, I'm not a bobblehead person, but people just go bananas for them. Bananas.
Yeah.
All right, what's your other? You got another story for us?
Yeah, one other one. I heard that Floyd Mayweather, he's got a stripper pregnant, and a judge ordered that he has to give the stripper $32,000 per month in child support for the next 18 years. After hearing that story, John, I've decided I'm going to stay being a virgin.
What?
Good
I'm a
financial point.
57-year-old
You know,
virgin.
you
I'm
know-
going to stay doing that. So we'll have the Mayweather $32,000 a month in child support he has to pay now.
James, thank you for the call from Tacoma. By the way, James, you've missed your calling. You should be a financial advisor because you just talked about, doubling your money on bobbleheads, and then you just talked about staying a virgin.
I thought you were going to say yeah because
you
they were
did-
virgins.
But the
And I was
story
taking
is-
shots
I'm
from
doing
the
this-
front and the back.
The story is not only does he have to pay the stripper from, by the way, the club he owns. So he owns the club, and he got a stripper pregnant, and then, he's got to pay her $33,000 a month till the kid is 18, and I think he also has to pay her like $3 million or something up front. I mean, that's expensive. You might just want to get a lady of the night at that point, but $3 million up front and $33,000 a month until the kid is 18, which, look, Floyd Mayweather can handle it, but that's a lot of money for
Sounds
anybody.
like a skill issue. How does that?
Isn't the rule that you're not supposed to touch?
Touch yourself.
You
you're
know
not
how it
supposed to
happens.
touch.
You know this is a skill issue.
Big Gooner.
Plus, I mean, it's in his own club. I mean, it's so creepy. Like, what are you doing? Plus, how old's Floyd Mayweather? Can somebody look that up? Because I'm too lazy, but I guess I could do it. But I mean, he's got to be getting up there, and I don't know how old the stripper was. I just saw the story. I didn't really delve that deeply into it. But
49.
So, thanks for James from Tacoma.
49.
He's 49.
In the meat.
Again, you do you, but man, that whole story's weird, man.
Ooh.
For as much money as he has money issues and morality issues. And you know what he'll do? He'll just go box again, like just do one, and then I'll pay for the kid and everything else there. But And then the other story, boy, we know how to pick out the callers. We just take one, and they're always really good. Yeah, he said that a guy took a baby stroller and had a gun in the baby stroller and wasn't even trying to just bring my baby stroller and my gun. And by the way, I have a concealed weapons permit, so I can bring this, right?
That
he was
is
like,
crazy.
no.
That's
especially with a
so
football
funny.
game.
Yes, you can have a permit, but that doesn't mean you can just take your gun everywhere. You can't even bring like a purse into those games. Are you kidding me?
No, they have to have like a plastic purse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get stopped all the time because I be carrying these guns everywhere, so I understand.
No, don't laugh. Don't laugh. Do not laugh. Do not laugh at him.
Very nice.
Interesting, per se.
Oh,
Yes,
Lord.
yes, thank you. Thank you very much. So there you go. There is our caller of the day, brought to you by nobody, but he was very entertaining. Yeah, thank you very much for that. So James from Tacoma is our caller of the day. All right, we did not get to NBA, so here's what we'll do. But I think we had I think that was a quality segment, even though I lied, and I don't mean to lie. We got into other things. We started talking about trains, started talking about James from Tacoma, and all of a sudden time got away from us. So I apologize.
Anyway.
All right. NBA. There's a lot of off-season NBA as well, so we'll get into the Knicks. We'll get into the Western Conference with OKC and San Antonio, and we do have to get into some stuff. It is my annual warning. I'll just say this. My annual warning for people who love to get on the internet and say, would you do this trade? We'll explain next. Drake Tulso, John Lund in for Drake, Addie and Curtis. Thanks for joining us on a Friday on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
It's getting to the point where I'm no fun anymore. I am sorry. Sometimes it hurts so badly I must cry out loud. I am lonely. I am yours. You are mine. You are what you are. You make it hard. Remember what we've said and done and felt about each other. Oh, babe, have mercy. Don't let the past remind us of what we are not now. I am not dreaming. I am yours. You are mine. You are what you are. You make it hard. Tearing yourself away from me now. You are free. And I am crying. This does not mean I don't love you. I do. That's forever. Yes, and for always. I am yours. You are mine. You are what you are. You make it hard. Something inside is telling me that I've got your secret. Are you still listening? Here is the lock, and laughter the key to your heart. And I love you. I am yours. You are mine. You are what you are. You make it hard, and you make it hard, and you make it hard, and you make it hard. Friday evening, Sunday in the afternoon. What have you have you got to lose? Can I tell it like it is? Listen to me, baby. It's my heart that's a something, it's a die, and that's what I have to lose. I've got an answer. I'm going to fly away. What have I got to lose? Will you come see me Thursdays and Saturdays? Hey, hey, hey. What have you got to lose?
Hey, hey,
Big Gooner.
but somebody gotta do it. Got my foot up on the gas, but somebody gotta do it.
Hello, friends. Thanks for joining us.
Turn this TV off.
40 minutes past the hour. Drake Toll Show. John Lund in for Drake. Addie, Curtis, you. We've already taken our call of the day, so I don't know if we're full, but maybe. 310-840-4910. James from Tacoma, Washington was outstanding, though. If you could top that, he's a security guard for Mariners and Seahawks games and said somebody brought in a gun in a baby stroller. So if you can top that, you can call the show. 310-840-4910 on the Westwood One
Especially if
Sports
you're
Talk
an
and text
older
line.
version.
Yeah, absolutely. Very nice. NBA playoffs are a big story. The Knicks won their 9th straight. By the way, Addie puts together a wonderful show sheet. I don't know if Drake ever says that, but it's chock full of just wonderful little things like that.
You have to look
Knicks,
at it to know that.
I'm so appreciate you saying
Yes.
that because I was
No, it's nice.
under the influence of life.
What does that mean? So you didn't have softball. We've established no softball last night. Beverages. By the way, I'm not bragging. Okay, this is just factual. We're not meeting people in this industry. We're just not. We're not cubicle sitters. We're not office sitters. It's very difficult for people in this industry to do that. That's why we do what we do. And I did happen to have a meeting late in the day yesterday, and they were going across the street. They were already doing a happy hour during the meeting, which I didn't do. And then they went across the street. And one of my favorite, more than anything, Mexican restaurants, the chips, the tacos, the margaritas, the whole deal. And they all were going across the street to this new place. It was called Modern Margarita. And it was just screaming my name. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to let down Addie and Curtis. I'm going to be clear-headed. I'm gonna do a quality show. I'm not going to let down Big Boss. I'm not going to let down Westwood One Sports. I'm not going to let down millions of listeners all across this country and Canada. I'm not going to let down Sirius XM 375. I'm not going to drink tonight.
We would have been more proud of you though, because we're both half Mexican. We're one full Mexican on this show, so we would have actually encouraged it.
Oh, it is. It was pulling me like it was. It was just like yanking me like.
Touch yourself.
Pear margarita. I was just like, oh, I wanted to so bad. And so anyway, I didn't. And because on the West Coast, I got to get up at like 1:30 in the morning. And I'm like, that's going to come fast. And I knew that I owed you, we got to do those sports minutes or whatever, 22 seconds. I had all sorts of stuff to do. Hadn't really written the show. Had to go watch the Knicks and Cavs. So I'm like, I'm going to be responsible. So I went home.
You could have done your minutes drunk. That might have made it funnier.
Yeah,
and
that's
here,
true. Maybe.
Here I
Yeah,
am.
you're right.
Last night, I'm like, let's do another leader.
So did you? What did you? So did you just do beer though? Like beer's not gonna. That's not gonna be bad.
So
did
I
you throw
started
some
with
shots
beer.
in, or what did you do?
No. I started with beer, but then I moved on to
Okay.
like some cocktails, some mixed drinks. A little like I had this one that was like Tito's, Prosecco, lemon, little fresh strawberries, and I had a couple of those.
Oh, see now you're getting into. You know what? I'm gonna say something about you that I don't know, but this is. It sounds like what I do. So in the wintertime when it's cold, I go to like whiskeys and darker thing, and then when it becomes nice outside, then it becomes like I wouldn't say like foo-foo drinks, but what you just described
yes.
is kind of a summery kind of like you
Yes.
wouldn't drink that drink in the winter, right?
No. But I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's it's almost summer. I got to drink the summer cooler. Like got to get into it.
Yeah. What you need to drink, and then we'll get into the NBA playoffs, I promise. My wife is a big fan of this. I was at a Super Bowl in Miami, and they served this at a bar, and it was amazing because you mentioned Prosecco. You take vanilla vodka and passion fruit juice, but it's got to be vanilla vodka, and you shake it up, and you put a sugared rim on it, and it's called a porn star, and then you put Prosecco over the top of it. Amazing. Very good drink.
Floyd
Very
Mayweather
nice.
loves it, from what I've heard. Just kidding,
Yes, he does. Thank you very much. So there you go. No, you sound bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I mean, there have been days on this show where, maybe not as much, but we're on YouTube as well. So I mean, you could. That's the one thing about Big Boss wants us on YouTube too. So we're all on YouTube. So if you'd like to go to Drake Toll's channel, that's where we are, right? We're on Drake's channel, and you can see us live and in color. Not sure why, but okay. And so you can tell if we didn't behave ourselves last night, and you seem just fine.
Yeah,
Would that be accurate?
Yeah, I got like the
You're
makeup like cleaner, so I can get like the the mascara from underneath my eyes a little bit. Like I got everything. I'm good. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm here.
Very
I'm
good.
good.
Okay, very good.
We keeping a buck right now, we ass.
That's right. Speaking of ass, the Cavs are. The Knicks have won 9 straight. Josh Hart had 26. Jalen Brunson at 19. Donovan Mitchell's doing his part. He had 26. And I thought that, and maybe this still will be a good series. I thought that the size of Cleveland would give the Knicks a lot more trouble than it has. But they just kind of turned the screws after halftime. Really good defensively. James Harden's terrible. We have established that. And at some point, Cleveland may just have to say, look, we know what we're paying him, but if you're giving us nothing defensively, because that's what the Knicks are doing, ISOing Harden all the time, and offensively you're not hitting shots, and they may have to look at that. So that's one thing on that side. Now, the other side, and I want your thoughts on this. I was thinking about this last night. Like, when Jordan's era and the Bulls were dominating, SportsCenter was all about dunks. When Steph Curry and the Warriors were dominating, it was all about long threes. And so it's not that everybody, turned into dunks. It's just the NBA kind of, that was the thing. And then Steph Curry, now everybody's shooting threes. And this seems to be happening. I could be wrong. But are these playoffs, is every team turning into OKC? And what I mean by that is everybody's turning into Shea. Shea then passed it on to Oklahoma City, who is constantly flopping. And now I'm seeing like Jalen Brunson's doing it. Holmgren was already doing it, but teams are doing it more and more and more. And my fear is that if the Bulls were Jordan dunking and the Warriors were Curry and everybody was shooting long threes, until the NBA stops this, is this what this is going to be? Because of all the issues that the NBA continues to talk about that they think are major issues, this is number one, and number two is not even close, because people do these things, and it was a great job on like 50% of Shea's shots, SGA shots the other night against San Antonio. He flopped and fell. Now it seems like they're getting a little bit better, but these guys just see this out of the corner of their eye. For people who don't understand as far as the referees, because I've spoken to them about it, maybe they need another referee that's just a flop referee. Maybe they need a guy in a booth like the NFL does. But I think I speak for 100% of fans when I say, stop it. Stop the flop. Am I overreacting, or is it as bad as I perceive it to be? What do you think?
You with the NBA. And I've always said it. I prefer college basketball. I really do. Because it's just, I don't see that as much. It's why I've always had a hard time watching soccer. But the thing is SGA does it. If you can't beat him, join him. If you can't beat him,
That's
join
what I
him.
mean.
Just do the same thing. It's working for him. So why not? And it's atrocious to watch. I'm at the bar last night, and even though it wasn't OKC, I'm just watching. I'm like, wait a minute. The guy didn't even touch you. You actually drove into him and then fell. I'm like,
Yeah.
What? And then, of course, they're like, okay, let's go now. Let's go shoot some free throws now, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, no, this is just so boring. That part of the game is so boring. Like, I say this all the time. The reason why I love college is, like, there's strategy there. It's teamwork. Yeah, you're going to have a star player on your team. Yes, they're going to be the Devontas and the Boozers and yada, yada, yada. Just like there is an NBA. But the thing is it's just, there's more to it. It seems like it means more for them. Whereas an NBA, it's just like, oh, my gosh, I'm watching a circus. This is a clown show. Like, let's just all fall.
Well, if you're going to get, if the best player in the league 2 years in a row now, the MVP, SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is going to get rewarded for it, then everybody else is going to look at that, and I don't care what it is. It's life, it's business, it's sports. Everybody looks at who's winning or who is most successful, and they emulate what that is. And that's why I brought up Jordan, and that's why I brought up Curry, and it kind of becomes that. Well, now, because he's being rewarded, it absolutely is spread throughout his entire team like a disease. So Oklahoma, Chet Holmgren, everybody does it. And so it's not just SGA because he's a star getting the call like we've seen in the past. And he falls on just about every single shot because he figures, why the hell not? So Oklahoma City, it's an epidemic on their team. And now Wemby and the Spurs are starting to do it because they're like, well, they're getting rewarded. We're going to get rewarded. Then last night I'm watching the Knicks, and what are the Knicks generally about? What's that city about? It's about toughness. I'm not going to fall down. I'm not going to go flopping. And again, to a point, this isn't new because when 260-pound made out of brick LeBron James is flying all over the place, he's famous for it too. But now it's getting out of control. And if I'm the commissioner, I'm not waiting until next year. I'm not doing anything like that. But here's what I would do next year. So first of all, I'd get with the officials and say, this has got to stop. It's ugly. Nobody likes it. It's disgusting. Let's not reward it. Let's not reward bad acting. But then the other thing I would do just for next year is I would say, we're going to get another official on the floor, and your only job is to call flops. Because I don't need to fine guys, anything like that, but it is going to be a foul. So if you flop, that's a foul. And you can go back and you can use your your replay on it or whatever, your challenge, I should say, on it. You can do that. That's fine. But we're not going to reward that. It would be out of the league in, I don't know, the first 2 weeks because something's got to be done. Because aesthetically in watching the game, like, again, a lot of people aren't into hockey. I get it. And if you don't, like, my whole mantra, you do you. Like, if you don't like hockey, fine. I'm not going to be one of those people that's going to go, you got to watch hockey. The playoffs are great. Like, whatever. Don't watch it. But could you imagine, like those guys, flopping was a problem in the NHL at one point, and they just decided, nah, we're gonna call it on you for flopping. It was out of the league in like 3 days. Like, it's just, and then they have a different mindset, which is, I take a stick in the mouth, I still play. I get hit, I get this, I get that, I get a broken this or that, my knee's doing this, my ankle's going the other way. Like, there's a toughness factor to the NHL. They're the complete opposite of that. But in the NBA, because they're getting rewarded and because winning teams are being rewarded for it, the best team and the best player are being rewarded, it's all of a sudden become a major problem in these playoffs. It's hard to watch.
Last night, you literally see a hockey player super glue his finger back together so it would stop bleeding. And he was like, I got to go back out there. So you see him put super glue so it would stop bleeding. Like, this is what's crazy to me. So now I see everybody in the NBA, if we go back to this and I see the SGA versus Wemby debate, what are we actually, like, what are we looking at here? Because I think Wemby's a way better player. I think SGA, he's a great player.
No
I'm not going to say
doubt.
He's a great player. But the thing is how is he scoring a lot of these points? How is he doing on the court? Like, Wemby is just like, he's an alien. They call him that all the time. The guy's origin story is Batman Begins, where he's training with monks. They're not telling him, hey, if someone touches you, please fall on the ground. This is what you do. You fall on the ground.
Touch yourself.
You just, you freak out and fall on the ground. No. And so that's why it's just, everybody's like, oh, this is going to be the craziest, like, matchup. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, it's like it's a toddler versus a professional, in my opinion. Like, okay, let's cause a big scene. Let's delay the game. Let's just, to make this take forever, go shoot your free throws, go do that thing, and then we can get back to what we were doing. And then it's just like that every 2 minutes, and it makes that team unwatchable. It's so annoying. It's brutal. It's a long game, and people are tired of it.
Well, plus, isn't sports, like, one of the things that sports is doing, because they know that they're competing with so many things, as you're watching sports, you're staring at a screen too. You're maybe multiple screens. Like, I've got that going on in my, I got my phone, I got my iPad, I got this. People are betting. They're looking at a betting app. You you're not watching TV in the linear fashion that you once watched TV, all these things. So if you're going to give me an excuse, if you're going to stop the game with a whistle every 3 seconds and you're going to parade a guy to the free throw line, I'm telling you, people are not going to watch your product long term. Is it going away? No, but a certain faction of a younger demographic is going to say, this is not entertaining enough for me when you're stopping the game. So that's where I scratch my head. Why are you rewarding it? Because it's not fun to watch, and there's not a conspiracy theory. Oklahoma City's not New York, so it's not like they're making the major or the big city team win championships. Like, I would think this would be top of mind from Adam Silver all the way down, saying something's got to be done.
This is Westwood One Sports.
commissar, 'cause all the children know they were sliding down into the valley, they were slipping on the same snow. Hear the children, don't turn around. Jojo, the commissar's in town. He's got the power and you're so weak and your frustration will not let you speak. La 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 la. Don't turn around. Jojo, the commissar's in town. And if it talks to you, then you know why. The more you live, the faster you will die. To the shindig, chop chop, it says I'm gonna win big. Choose not to life of imitation. Distant closer to the reservation.
What's happening? Thanks for joining us. Drake Toll Show. Drake is out today. I'm John Lund. Eddie and Curtis are here, though. That's what you're really interested in. Hour number 2. We'll finish up our NBA conversation because Curtis so rudely cut me off, but that's on me. I'm a professional, and I didn't look at the clock, so that's what happened.
Big gooner.
But Addie has waited long enough. Her passion is baseball, and at 20 minutes past the hour, I have a lot of baseball stuff, including a potential trade that could shake up Major League Baseball at 20 minutes past the hour. 40 minutes past the hour, this is what she's worried about. So I don't know if people know this, but Addie likes Arch Manning. Yeah,
Interesting, per se.
But, yeah, did you see how, if you're watching on YouTube, how she pepped up very quickly? There you go. On your phone even. On your phone. That's when you know, by the way, not to go off on a tangent, but that's when what people's passion is. Like if you say, hey, can I see your phone for a minute? And people go, no, because they don't want you to grab their phone. But whatever you have on your phone, like my wife has a picture of a dog. She has a picture of me. Yeah, see, Addie's got Arch Manning. My wife has our dog. I have my wife. My wife has my dog. So, I mean, it's just, whatever your passion is, that's what you have on your phone. It is kind of an interesting thing. Curtis, what's on your phone? What's the
I won't dox them, but it's a person.
Oh.
Yeah, but still. That's it. Yeah.
It's Arch Manning.
So.
Be honest, Curtis.
Very nice. Yeah. By the way, have I done the show since, because I can't remember what it was, but we'll talk Arch Manning at 40 past the hour. There was an actual legitimate reason to talk about him today, and I heard this driving in today. Not to go off on this now because we'll do it at 40 minutes past the hour. We are under 100 days to college football. August 29th is the start. So I didn't do the math. I just heard this, and I'm too lazy to check things, so I'm just regurgitating it. But someone did say this morning on a very credible place that it was like 99 days to college football. So I'll stay with that. August 29th is the start. So we'll talk about that at about 40 minutes past the hour. But really quick, because you sent me something, and it was like a picture of Arch Manning, and I was out and I'd maybe had a few margaritas, and I thought this will be funny to send back to her. So I just did a quick AI of a picture of you and Arch, and I said, put them in a, like if they got married. I don't know what I told AI to do, but it did it perfectly, and it had like your profile picture on one of your social medias and Arch, and you guys were like,
don't forget Big Sin
there
also
it is right
in the
there.
picture.
See, there you go. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, and of course. Yeah, and, right in the middle, man. Sinatra right in the middle is like, best cat or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And it did it on like, whatever I said to it, it did that on first shot. I was like, and I was out with friends and stuff, and I thought, if it doesn't do it on first shot, then I'm not going to worry about it. But it nailed it. It AI that time was on it.
Sinatra.
Yeah, Sinatra right in the middle of it. And you got the pucker going on and everything. It was just like, it nailed it. I was like,
pucker?
That's just pure luck.
I
right there.
I sent that to so many people, and they all were like, that is the greatest thing ever. I was like, I have fun coworkers, guys. Look at that. They feed into my delusions.
Right. I mean, look, sometimes AI can be trash. Everybody, schedule release and people freaked out, but that one turned out pretty good. All right, let's finish up some NBA stuff, and then at 20 minutes past the hour, we'll do some baseball because we do have reason to discuss baseball, and then there is a legitimate reason to talk your obsession and Arch Manning at about 40 minutes past the hour here on the Drake Toll Show. John London for Drake. The offseason for the NBA is going to be extremely interesting, but I just wanted to give out one caveat. Do you guys ever see this? Because it's starting, and I know I'm not going to get to everybody on this, but I'll hope to get it to as many people as I can. You do you, but here's a thought. So when, like, you put together a Giannis trade for your team, or you put together a LeBron trade, or you put together a John Morant trade, or a Jalen Brown trade, because all these things are happening, 90% of them won't happen. But I do think because Oklahoma City is so dominant, and maybe San Antonio, that some teams are going to do some things, like the Warriors, I think, are going to try to do some things. The Clippers are going to try to do some things. Maybe the Celtics are going to try to do some things. Milwaukee's going to move Giannis. So you're going to see this a ton because it gets clicks all over the internet, all over X, all over social media, whatever it is where you go. So people, when they do trades, like I saw a couple yesterday of Giannis going to the Lakers, and it was basically like a loaf of bread, a Hostess pie, a rotten Twinkie, and two first-round picks for Giannis. Like that. I mean, people throw this out all the time. You're just like, this. I get it. You're a fan of your team. Think of it from the other team's general manager perspective. And will that GM get fired? Because 99% of proposed trades, even by the so-called experts, you only think about it from your perspective. Oh, this is what I'd love to give up. Like, in all honesty, it was like the Lakers trade was like Reeves, who stinks, and everybody finally knows it, Hachimura, Dalton Connect, and like a first-round pick. It's like, you're not getting Giannis for that. So let me do this. Let me put you in the GM chair of the Bucks. Are you getting fired for making that trade? Yes, you are. So, look, do what you want. I'm just saying, when you make these, when you read these, don't think about it from your team. Think about it from, if you hadn't been drinking, you're the other team's general manager, and you hadn't been drinking heavily, or you weren't hungover, or you weren't on some kind of psychedelic, would you make this trade? And 9 times out of 10, you wouldn't.
That's why we always give GMs crap. We give managers crap, but it's actually more difficult than it looks. This is actually one of my favorite games to play at my other gig because we have some former GMs. Steve Phillips, known for the Bobby Bonilla contract, so of course we give him crap for that.
Boy.
But then we have Jim Bowden, Jim Duquette, and we love to do this. Callers will be like, hey, how about Shohei Ohtani for Marcus Semien and a first-round pick? And they're like, are you being serious right now? Like, yeah, no. The average person does not. We could not be a GM. There is an art to it. There is something to it. You gotta know what you're doing, or else it's gonna end up being these terrible trades. Yeah, those ones are always so weird to me. I see those all the time. I saw one yesterday about sending Giannis to like the Heat, and it was just for like nothing. And I was like, oh yeah, let's go to another team you're not gonna win with. Like that's
it was like
idea.
Tyler Hero. And here's the other thing that people do. They think that let me get this straight. Quantity is quality. So if I give up 10 players for this one player, then that's going to equal something. And it's like, look, you don't get 10 pieces of garbage for a piece of gold. It doesn't work like that. So people, again, fans think, and I'm a fan too, but you think to yourself, if I throw 10 things at them, then they're going to, it's going to be good. The other thing, especially when you're doing NBA trades, the NFL is completely different. The draft, you can get good players all over the place. But in the NBA, if you're not getting a guy in the lottery generally, now you're going to get your guys, and you're going to get a second-round pick like Gilbert Arenas or a Draymond Green, or, this happens. Or you'll get a guy late, you'll get a Rudy Gobert at 20 or whatever. But generally speaking, this is a really good draft. If you're not getting into the lottery, then who cares? So somebody will say, this team who's already really good, like Oklahoma City, I don't care about 3 first-round picks from Oklahoma City because they're going to be bad picks. They're at the end of the round, and they're going to be at the end of the round for the next 10 years, or San Antonio or any of these teams. So whether you're making said trades in your head, or whether you're reading them online, or whether it's whatever the case may be, nobody ever looks at it from the other team's perspective. And do what you want, but I invite you to do that, because then you scratch your head, you think to yourself, well, why wouldn't they do that deal? And it's because you're not thinking about it from the other team's perspective, and it drives me. I don't know why this is a peeve of mine, but I've already seen LeBron James deals. I've already seen a million Giannis. Like the Warriors, for example. I don't think he's ever going to the Warriors because the Bucks, right? The Bucks are going to be in a rebuild. What teams want is really, they want the SGA deal. They want to find a really good young player, and they want 1,000 draft picks, They don't want to take on your crappy contracts. In the NBA, you have to match the contracts. It's different. But, like, I saw a Warriors trade the other day. It was like Draymond Green, Brandon Podziemski, and like 500 number one picks and pick swaps and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm Milwaukee. I'm Milwaukee. I want Draymond Green for what reason? So I can lose and hear him complain and freak out and scream and yell and give the finger to my fans and want to get traded? Like, why would I do that? Like, Draymond Green is much more valuable to the Warriors than he would be on any team, and especially a bad team. Like, he's not going to a bad team. It would be hell. That would be hell for that team.
The main point that you brought up there is everybody forgets about contracts. You have to look at who is taking on this. It's not like it's just going to be like it's a even trade. That's what people forget. Like, who would want to pick up some of these contracts that are atrocious? No one does, especially some of these other teams that they're like wanting to do trades with. I'm like, you really think they're going to spend money? You really think some of these teams are actually going to be like, yeah, we'll take that on. That's fine for one player and like not actually build around it. Yeah, the mock trade stuff is always, I'll be honest, it's so annoying to me. I see it all the time with baseball and stuff. I'm like, stop acting like stop acting like you know things. No one is trading Mike Trout for a bag of chips. Like, stop it. Stop it.
So that's kind of my annual thing. You do you, believe what you want, all this kind of stuff, but trades are not going to happen if you think about it from the other team's direction. And a lot of times what I see is, and I think to myself, that general manager, if that deal's made, gets fired. And then people wonder why 99% of trades don't get done. Because I think this is going to be one of the most active off seasons that we've seen. Look, I don't think LeBron's going back to the Lakers. I don't have any insight on it. I know a lot of people. I could see Clippers. I could see Warriors. I could certainly, especially if the Cavs get knocked out here, the dream scenario would be, hey, he goes to the Cavs. Maybe you do let Harden go, whatever the case may be, but then he comes. Maybe they win a championship. I mean, the East is easier than the West. I'm not in LeBron's head. Maybe he wants to stay in California. Whatever the case may be, he's going to do what he's going to do afterwards anyway. Maybe be part of the Vegas expansion team. But I don't think LeBron's going to stay. I think it's 100% that Giannis is getting traded. So there's going to be a lot of people in on that, but not for the deals that we've seen. I think Jalen Brown could move. I think Brad Stevens is a really good front office executive, and you're not going to move Tatum because he's still coming off an injury, so you'd be probably trading him at 75 cents on the dollar. So I could see Jalen Brown being moved. So some of these things absolutely make sense this offseason. So I think it's going to be interesting. Do people really care if I tell them to look from the other perspective? No. But I think that if I get to one person today, I will have succeeded. Like, yeah, that's probably not accurate. That's probably not going to happen. So I'm just saying.
That's so funny that when you said that, we got a text at the exact same time that says LeBron will be headed back to the Cavs to get them over the hump if they lose to the Knicks. And you said that at the same time. I was like, wow.
I could see that. And I wouldn't mind it. You know, he's going to do one more year. He's going to do that whole tour thing. It's not going to bother me. But, yeah, I could see that. He's got to be done with the Lakers. Doesn't he have to be? Like, they can't do another year of that because Luka wants to get the kind of team that was around him in Dallas, a bunch of 3-and-D kind of guys. He wants to dominate the ball. And they've tried it for, a season and a half, and it's gotten him nowhere. So I don't think he's coming back there.
What would he gain by staying in L.A.? What would he gain from that?
I don't think there's anything.
Exactly.
Because here's the thing, and this is the other thing too. He's never going to be embraced as a full Laker. He was a mercenary. He won a bubble championship. Say what you want about that, but he's not Kobe. He's not any of those guys. He's not even James Worthy. He's not Kareem. He's not Magic. He's not I don't even know if I'd put him in the top 10 Lakers of all time. Not that I'm a list guy. The Lakers fans can tell me better, but I not even the Lakers fans go, yeah, the bubble thing's kind of janky.
Yeah.
You know?
The Mount Rushmore of Lakers with John Lund.
That's not my bag. That is not. I'm not a list guy. I'm not a Mount Rushmore guy. You know, I kind of screwed that whole thing up saying a top 10. That's like a peeve of mine. Like, who's the top 10 of the history of the Lakers? Hey, give us a call on 310-840-4910. Top 10 Lakers of all time. Does LeBron make the list?
Shaquille, LeBron,
I think Magic's one. I think Kobe's one. It's like, oh boy. That's kind of low-hanging fruit. I was just making a point, but you get the idea. So anyway, all right, there you go. Top of the hour. We want Addie to be in a good mood. And I thought to myself as we were putting the show together, and Addie, in all honesty, puts together most of the show. I was thinking to myself, if Addie went out, because I did think this, if Addie went out for softball last night and then she went to the bar, I thought at one point during the show, at maybe an hour and a half in or close to it, that we would like to appease her with a couple of nice segments. So I know you're a big baseball person, so there was some good baseball stuff I wanted to get into. And then I knew that as we got later into the show that there was an actual story, because I was joking with you early in this process yesterday. I thought, well, we're going to have to do an Arch Manning segment. And then I thought to myself, well, there's not really any reason to, but that never stopped us before. But then there was an actual story about college football that was interesting and included him.
That's why you're always on this show. When we need someone, we call John Lund. He goes, okay, let me see how we can work Arch Manning into this and how we can work baseball. Like, he's for the people. John Lund is for the people.
I am. Look, it's first of all, I love all this. I love everything. So if it's a good topic, I love talking about it. But I also think to myself, if she's not feeling well on this Friday, let's bring some things to the table where it's going to be interesting. And I knew, but the Arch Manning thing, all of a sudden it was just I sent you a link on it, and I was like, my God, there's an actual reason. So
yes.
It actually works in the show.
Yes,
which is
his
always a
face
bonus.
was on the link. Yes.
I know. All you had to do was see the face, and you were like, "Oh yeah."
I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, that's it. I don't even know what you're sending me, but it's in the rundown. Let's do it." I was like, "This has to be great."
All right, we'll do that. We'll do that in the next two segments. We do have a reason to be talking baseball, and look, everybody. We just got done talking a little bit of LeBron, and every day it's like, do they have to talk about LeBron? Do they have to talk about Shohei Ohtani? But in a baseball term, it's like when you thought you were done talking about the guy, then you had to bring him up. So that's part of the baseball discussion. And there's a few other things we got to hit as well. But we'll do that coming up next. Drake Toll Show, John Lund in for Drake, Addie, and Curtis here as well on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. And remember, Drake's YouTube channel as well.
turn out right? Now as the years roll on, each time we hear our favorite song, the memories come along. Older times we're missing, spending the hours reminiscing. Hurry, don't be late, I can hardly wait. I said to myself when we're old, we'll go dancing in the dark, walking through the park and reminiscing. Friday night, it was late, I was walking you home. We got down to the gate and I was dreaming of the night. Would it turn out right? How to tell you, girl, I wanna build my world around you.
In the meat.
What's happening? Thanks for joining us. Drake Toll Show, John Lund in for Drake. Curtis and Addie are here. Thank you for making the time for us. 40 minutes past the hour. There's an actual reason to talk college football, not because Addie's obsessed with Arch Manning, but I read this piece today, and last night actually, and was like, this is going to be, I'm not going to say maybe, this is going to be the most compelling college football season in I don't know how long. And we'll tell you why. And yes, Arch Manning is part of it, which is great because then Addie gets very, very excited and participates fully in the show. Not that she doesn't normally, but I'm just saying. Before we get to baseball conversation, and I'm sorry that we have to bring up Ohtani, but he's done it again. You guys stop me when these are what today's days are. You stop me when I hit something compelling. I'll pause right after each one and you tell me. Today, May 22nd, is National Boss Babe Day. I don't know what that is, but National Boss Babe Day. Again, if you'd like to opine, stop me. Today is National Cooler Day, which, by the way, one of the most underrated things ever. And if you don't have a great cooler, then you got to go to the store because it's getting to be summer. Like, it's such an underrated item. The like the Yeti, the nice. Like, and if I know that they're expensive. But if you invest in a really good cooler, it's going to pay you back time and time again. So it is National Cooler Day. Would you like to opine on National Cooler Day? Anything for National Cooler Day? No? Okay. I'll just keep on going. Let's see. Today is National Solitaire Day. Anything on solitaire? When you were younger, before anything came out, would you like play solitaire on your computer all day and not work? Anyone?
You seem like a solitaire guy.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Not a solitaire guy? Today is National Pudding Day. I'm not a pudding guy. I don't like the texture. It doesn't pass as a dessert for me. Plus, Bill Cosby for years was like Jell-O pudding, and I'm not a Bill Cosby guy. So, National Pudding Day. Any thoughts on National Pudding Day?
Curtis?
Not a pudding guy. Curtis, anything on National Pudding Day?
Are there Quaaludes in the pudding?
Wow.
Could be.
Wow.
Could
Wow.
be. So, not a pudding guy. Don't like the texture. Don't like Bill Cosby. Today, the last one I know that Addie is going to like. Today is National Sherlock Holmes Day. Not sure about that. Didn't like the Sherlock Holmes stuff, especially when it was Will Ferrell. That bombed. And finally, today is World Paloma Day. World Paloma Day. And I know that people like their margaritas, but it's getting to be summer. Yeah, it's getting to be summer.
Yes.
And if you've never really been into palomas, which is basically tequila, some sort of a grapefruit, maybe a little soda, a little lime.
Also
a
Doves.
Very underrated drink. Very underrated drink. Thoughts on palomas? Anything?
Yeah, drinking. Even my cup this morning says, when life gives you limes, have a margarita. I'm not going to say who it is. I don't.
Oh, look at that. That's a beautiful cup. Very nice. Yeah, most people, when they go to a Mexican restaurant, think margarita, and that's fine. I'm just saying if you're looking for a less acidic type of a thing, even though there's some acid in those, palomas are outstanding. Very underrated drink.
My favorite, whenever I go to, only certain Mexican restaurants do it because this was invented in Austin, Texas, is a Mexican martini. Those are my favorite. I'll ask for them. So at Chewy's they have them. I'm gonna just read like the. Do you have? No, you don't have Chewy's. No, I'm trying to think of other like places. So it's a Mexican martini, is a tequila-based cocktail, popular in Austin, Texas. Whoop whoop. Key ingredients include tequila, Cointreau, lime juice, olive brine, orange juice. Oh, they're so good.
That does sound good.
Oh, they're so good.
That does sound really good.
Oh yeah.
That sounds really good. For orange juice too, because it's because there's you put Grand Marnier in like a top shelf margarita, like you could put a little of that in there too, instead of or with the orange juice. That would be pretty good. Yeah, I would drink that all day. That sounds really good. Because the other thing too about just like margarita, they're filling. So if you're at a Mexican restaurant and you want to go chips, maybe you're doing a heavy dinner, the whole thing, you want to do all that kind of stuff. You might want to go lighter on the drink. That's why, like you said, Mexican martini. That'd be pretty good. That sounds pretty good to me. So anyway, there are your days today. Hopefully you are impressed by all of those things. All right, I got to say this, and I know that Ohtani's been so talked out, but last time out for Ohtani. So he doesn't pitch last year. He goes through the Tommy John, and now on the mound, I'm not going to say he's the best pitcher in baseball, but with Tarek Skubal out, Skeens is still number one. But Ohtani could, I think, make the case for being number two. So he's taking on the Padres. They're on the heels of the Dodgers. Pretty decent, pretty big series as far as early season goes. And Ohtani in the final game of that series goes 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. On the season, Ohtani's got an ERA of 0.73. His WAR, what is it good for, is up to 3.7, which is number 1 in the league. His earned runs this year go as follows: 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 0, 0. Did I mention that he has an 0.73 ERA? And then, Mike, and then you just mentioned this, Addie. He's 12 for his last 23. So everybody's like, oh, he stinks at the plate. He stinks at the plate. He's got a 986 OPS. So he's almost, he's starting to come out of it as far as the hitting is concerned. It's the 7th time, and he hit a leadoff home run in the game, so it's the 7th time in his career he's had a scoreless start and a home run in the same game. Nobody else has done that. He's the only player to hit a leadoff home run as a pitcher, and he's done it twice. It's just he's got a 402 on base percentage, and people are saying that he's having an off year at the plate. Like, I know everybody has said this a million times, but you start going down the superlatives day after day after day after day, and all I'm simply saying is you can hate the Dodgers, and I get it, and everybody does. It's not their fault the way things are going. It's not their fault they spend all the money. These are the rules that Major League Baseball has laid out. I'm not a Dodgers fan. I'm just telling you that your hate is probably misplaced. But the thing I want to remind people of is this guy is doing, and I'm very comfortable in saying this, things that no one will ever do again. Like, that's thrown around all the time, especially on the morning talking head shows. This will never be done again, and then it's done the next week. everybody is a prisoner of the moment. This kind of stuff will never, ever be done. So don't let your blind hatred for the Dodgers make you keep flipping the channel when he's either up or pitching, because you're going to be able to say to your grandkids and their grandkids and all that kind of stuff that I saw Shohei Ohtani, who I'm this close to saying is the greatest athlete of all time. He's beyond now the greatest baseball player. He might be the greatest athlete, and I'm almost going to remove the might from that because I don't know what else he can do. This is like what happens in Little League, and we all have that kid on the team that is the best pitcher, the best shortstop, the best hitter, the best this, the best that, the best looking, the best. Oh, and then he's the quarterback of the football team, and and he gets all the girls, and you're like, come on. That happens in like middle school or high school, not at this level, and he's just making it look ridiculous. He's the distance between Shohei Ohtani and the second best player in baseball is massive. He's that good.
He's also the best gambler in baseball, many people are saying, but I agree. I mean, just have a translator. Just have a translator, and then you can just, the whole thing blow over, whatever. But I agree with you.
See, that's what I mean. He's the best at be like, you're taking the fall.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So he may be a little
Teflon.
bit of a snake, but,
Is.
he's good. He's good.
Could be.
No, but two things can be true at once. I agree. You can hate the Dodgers. That's totally valid. If you're a Giants fan specifically, yeah, you can really hate the Dodgers. No one's going to get mad at you for that. But Shohei Ohtani, what he is doing is unbelievable. I know everybody says that. But even the other day, so a couple weeks ago, Ohtani was going through a hitting slump, and they're like, "Oh man!" And we mentioned this. I said that he needed to sit down for a couple games. He didn't need a DH. It wasn't that important. They have enough players. They've spent all the money. So what does he do? They bench him a couple games, let him reset. And even in an interview, Dave Roberts, they were asking him, "Hey, how's his hitting in the batting cage?" He's like, "I don't know. We don't go down there." Like he's just let him do his thing. He knows his game
what
well
am I
enough.
going to tell him?
Yeah, let him go down there and let him figure it out. And then he comes back, and it's like, there's Ohtani. It's not, he wasn't pitching poorly. No, you just said the stats. He was pitching really well. He was going through a bit of a slump, which, that happens. It's part of baseball. The ebbs and flows. That's baseball. That's why the season's so long. You're going to have slumps no matter what. But yes, this man is incredible. And I truly wish he played for any other team. I really do. Because like I said, I also hate the Dodgers, but, everybody hates the Houston Astros, so I can't really, say much about that. But, oh my goodness, there's no one else like him. Yes, you have other great hitters. You have the Yordan Alvarez's in this league, but then you also have other great pitchers. You do have the Paul Skeens, the Skubals, the Hunter Browns, but nobody is doing both. And the fact that he was able to figure it out in just a couple days, and now he's back looking like Ohtani again, golly, that's impressive. It's incredible.
Well, and that's why I'm throwing out these numbers, and I'm not normally a huge stat guy. It's just that when you start, because like you said, the superlatives have been said, and people might be sitting in their cars right now, the millions that are listening right now to the Drake Toll Show and John Lund in for Drake today with Addie and Curtis here on Westwood One Sports, that we've said all this, we've heard all this, we know. I'm simply just reminding people because he didn't pitch last year, and now all of a sudden he's got an 0.73. And now he's starting to hit again. He led off the game with a home run. He had 2 walks. He's got a 402 OPS. Like all these different numbers that you throw out. And I'm not going to throw out, all these different analytical things that you start going deep because you really don't even have to do that with him. And I'm simply saying that, as you just pointed out, Dodger fans like the Dodgers, everybody else, this is just the way it works with LA teams, New York teams. It's pure jealousy. But the reality is that you're like, oh, you see Dodger blue and you just want to flip the channels, as you said, especially for teams in their division, the Padres fans, the Giants fans, etc. But a lot of people just won't watch the Dodgers. You can get past your blind hatred. I think that people do that for special athletes. They did it for Jordan. They did it for LeBron. They do it for special athletes because you realize as a sports fan that, okay, this guy doesn't play for my team, and he might play for the team that I hate the most. But it's so historic what he's doing. I don't even really know what to comp it to be honest. I mean, you can say Bo Jackson, who played in 2 sports, or Dion, who played in 2 sports. But for people who know baseball, and you really don't even have to know it that deeply, of what a pitcher goes through in a week to get ready to throw one game and then go through the 5-day process again, and then to have this guy do it again, it's just they're 2 different worlds. And for him to be, as we just threw out all those different numbers, for him to be doing these things, honestly, you're not going to see it again. You're just not, because we haven't before. We won't again. And the other thing I was thinking of, could you imagine if we knew what he was going to be before he got over here? Like, he comes over to the Angels, It's kind of nondescript, and then he becomes huge, but he's still playing for the Angels, and then he comes to the Dodgers, and now it's astronomical, and now everybody hates him. With the Angels, he was kind of this weird unicorn, but nobody felt threatened because it was the Angels. But could you imagine what the bidding war would have been had we known he was going to be this good? The type of money, the amount of teams, what teams would have done. You know, they would have offered him everything. And he would have probably ended up on the Dodgers after that first contract anyway, but he sure as hell wouldn't have been on the Angels. I know that.
No, well, what's funny is because we knew he wanted to stay on the West Coast, and that's very common with a lot of players coming over from Japan. You want to stay on the West Coast, closer to home, you know what I mean? And then whenever there was a chance that he was going to go to the Blue Jays, I was like, guys, stop talking about this. We know it's not going to happen. But yeah, it's incredible what he's doing, and it's funny because even the other, let's say, the Cal Raleigh's in there. You know, he went through a huge slump and he couldn't figure it out. He could not figure it out. Ohtani had a slump and he figured it out in a couple days, like 2 days. They benched him for a little bit. They benched Cal Raleigh. They did all the things he could, and he couldn't figure it out until he took a shower in his uniform. But like Ohtani actually figured it out that quickly. That's the impressive part. Is even when he's bad, just the next day it's going to be completely different. It's incredible.
Wait a minute. I don't know why I didn't hear this story. Cal Raleigh took a shower in his uniform, like Charles Barkley always says he used to take a shower in his uniform.
Yeah,
that whole thing, and then Kenny Smith called him on it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because
that's a true story.
Yes, he was going through a slump, and they were trying to figure out how to, snap it. You'll do whatever you can to get through. You'll shave your face, shave your head. You'll wear different colored socks, all this kind of stuff. No, his teammate was like, you just got to completely do something different and just, So he showered in his full uniform, which I think is pretty gross, just because that just sounds like a nightmare. But yeah, that's what he did, and then he got a hit. But I mean, now he's injured. So who did it really help? I don't,
No.
So
guys are too superstitious in baseball. It has nothing to do with nothing. You can step on all the lines you want, eat the same thing, like that whole thing Wade Boggs used to do, right? You don't step on lines. He eats a certain amount of chicken, all that kind of stuff. Whatever. It doesn't do anything. All right, let's do this. It is a legit reason to talk about the number one thing that Addie loves to talk about. We'll do it coming up next. A legit reason to talk about it. Let's do it coming up next. Drake Toll Show, John Lund in for Drake on Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, and, of course, check us out on Drake's YouTube channel right now.
Big Gooner.
If this doesn't wake you up, I don't know what will. I love this. Drake Toll Show, John Lund in for Drake, Curtis and Addy, Westwood One Sports, Westwood One Sports app. And if you'd like to see our bright, shiny, clean faces this morning, go to Drake's YouTube channel and you can see us. Then you will put your hands over Curtis's face and my face, and you'll just stare at Addy, and I think that you're creepy, but that's okay. You do you.
That's what the Gooners
You.
Big Gooner.
You. Those two aren't there. Hi, Addy. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I'm sure they're not doing that.
What's so funny, you were asking what we did on the train. Really quickly, my friend looked up Drake Toll Show.
Gooned on the train?
People also search for it. If you look up Drake Toll Show, this is what popped up. All right, Drake Show cast. Who is the girl on the Drake Toll Show? Drake Toll Show Abby. That's Addy. Drake Toll Show producer. Right, guys.
Oh, that's amazing. That is. There's no that's got to be the number one search thing. I mean, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, no question about it.
It's Curtis. It's Curtis.
Yeah, they're just putting their hands up, and there you go. Top of the hour, we'll get you caught up on the NBA playoffs. Knicks 2-0 on the Cavaliers, and of course the Spurs and OKC. They go back to San Antonio, and that series starts up again tonight. So we'll get into that. But if you could set this up for us, Addy, a little bit, how you would describe your affection for Arch Manning, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because yesterday I was trying to think of a way, after you gave us a great outline on the show, as you always do. I thought we've got to get a Arch Manning segment in, but we're 100 days away from college football. How could we possibly do that? And then the ESPN gods, all of a sudden they write a piece because we can never have too much football, college, pro, or otherwise. And they put up a piece yesterday that was on the front page for a bit. And it says 100 days until week 0, top storylines, games, and predictions for the 2026 season. And, of course, because he's a Manning, there's a picture there, and there's Lane Kiffin, there's James Franklin, there's a couple other quarterbacks, there's Dante Moore on there. But and those guys are kind of like the drummer, the bass guitarist and everything. But right in the middle, the lead singer of this picture is one Arch Manning. He's right dead center. And I saw that, and I went, because I was just sitting down to put some things into the show to contribute, and there it is. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. And so then I sent you the link to it, and here we are about ready to talk about it. It's legit. But for those who don't know, most do, but some don't, how would you describe your affections for Arch Manning?
Ho, 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 ho. I know this much is true. Like, every time I see him, that song plays in my head. I'm like, oh, it's Arch.
That was outstanding.
Thank you. And he was in D.C. a couple weeks ago, and my friends were like, go find him. I'm like, that's psychotic, actually. Guys, I do it for the bit.
But you still did, right? You're like,
yeah. So what? So what if I was driving around town? Yeah. So what if I was driving around town? So what if I recognized that he was at Martin's Tavern in Georgetown? Who cares? Okay. Who cares?
You have a tracker on him.
I was like, wait a minute. I've been there. I know where that is.
Where did you came running in there? Where did he sit? Where's the stool?
Where is he?
Where did he sit? Exactly.
Give it a big whiff.
Amazing.
Curtis, you would sniff it
Curtis, your thoughts on Addie singing right there?
I thought you meant on Addie sniffing chairs.
Oh.
There you go. All right, so what they say, and honestly, this is legit, because what they say about Manning, they put them on the top 10 stories, they put them fourth. How dare they? But it basically says Manning and Texas are loading up to win now. Steve Sarkisian, blah, 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 blah. Talked about the running backs they bring in. By the way, one of the running backs' names is Hollywood Smothers, which is awesome. The other is Raleek Brown, and they talk about all the guys they brought in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So before we move on to anything else you'd like to say about Arch Manning, which, by the way, to me, because he's a Manning, that's the top story. Because there's going to be two teams that are absolutely positively, whatever the NBA, whatever, the NFL, there are two teams that are tanking for the top pick. That's going to be the Jets and the Cardinals, and they actually play on December 20th, and that could be the toilet bowl for the number one pick. And I think that they just won't be able to resist Arch Manning, no matter Dante Moore, this and that, whatever quarterback comes out. So I think that Arch Manning's the number one story in college football. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they have it at number 4, and once it's an Arch Bates, he'll be at number 1. Don't you fear, that last name's more powerful than Manning. But yeah, no, it's crazy because last year there was a lot.
You're going to make him take your name. And you've already thought about it. It's not like that just came out like you had not thought about it. You had actually thought, and I know what's going to happen. He's going to take my name.
Yeah, there's already an Archibald Manning.
That's true. Not the royalty name of Manning in the NFL. He's going to take. Interesting. Okay, continue. Sorry.
It's funny because last year there was the preseason hype around him, like, oh, he's going to go number 1 overall and everything, which was interesting because we'd never had really seen him play more than just a couple of minutes. I'm like, even I was like, okay, all righty. And then the first week he didn't play well, the first couple of weeks, and then he actually showed that, oh, he's a Manning, but then he's also not a Manning because he can also run. But yeah, the quarterback class. The quarterback class is going to be interesting. I know he's already the front runner for the Heisman Trophy, and honestly, like, what? Who else? Gunnar Stockton. Julian Sain?
Dante Moore of Oregon? Maybe it's going to be a quarterback. I mean, it always is. So somebody like that. Yeah, those two guys. And they're probably 1, 2 in the pecking order, most people think, as far as the quarterbacks go. There could be some surprises. But if your name's Manning, and first of all, I don't think anybody in the NFL draft is going to be able to resist him. Number 2, he has to clear an impossibly high bar because not so much of Eli, but of Peyton, and everybody said he was going to be the next this or that, and he actually didn't have a bad year last year. I think it was just people were too much on him. So I think he's going number 1, and I think because of the quarterback class, he and that class in general, because everybody's putting so much pressure on 2027, saying that 26 was so bad, that I think that the number 1 story in college football, in all honesty, is going to be Arch and the rest of the quarterbacks and what kind of year they have.
Also, the difference between this year and last year is if you look at the numbers of his receivers, how many drop passes like they should have caught. Now he has Cam Coleman. That is a good name. Yeah. That was a big target this offseason. For anybody who was like wanting a transfer portal wide receiver, that was the name. And they got him. And it seems like their chemistry is amazing. They've done a lot of stuff posting and everything. I'm like, oh, this is actually fun. This seems like it's going to be fun. So I'm like, again, I'm not just saying this because I like Arch Manning, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it's going to be a fun storyline in college football because I think he really found his stride towards the end of the season, and he played well against teams like A&M, man. Like, he played really well. And so I'm excited to see what they do this season. And Steve Sarkisian, who's already, just firing shots at everybody, Texas Tech and, Ole Miss. I mean, come on. It's going to be a good time now.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be the number 1 story. This story is going to take care of itself. ESPN put it as 5 as the top storylines as we're 99 days away from college football. This blows my mind. I have to say this out loud because the Brendan Sorsby story is, so he's admitted to gambling on his own team, which got Pete Rose kicked out of baseball for his entire life. And he's gambled thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times. He admits it. He's not denying that. But then he's turning around and suing college football. If we know how screwed up college football is and NIL and all the different things, and it's the Wild West, and I've told this story before. I got a friend that's an agent, and he's just like, oh, my God, this is the best thing ever. There's no rules. But honestly, I don't know how, because the number 1 sin that players can make nowadays, I think, in sports, whether they be professional or college, and because they're being paid, it's the same thing now. You can get away with a lot of stuff. You can even play professional sports and come back and play in college, but you can't gamble. You can't. There's a credibility issue that tears at the seams that is everything in sports. You can't do that. And yet he is admitted to thousands of times gambling, and even on his own team. And let me just say this out loud so I can kind of get through my brain. But then he's suing the NCAA. Like, how does that make sense in any way, shape, or form? It's nobody can step forward and go, you can't do this. On to the next. You're a professional. You're going to the NFL. We can't let you do this.
Trying to make more money, John Lund.
That's true. Because what is it, 7? What do they pay him? $6 or $7 million at Texas Tech?
You need more.
That story's crazy.
More. But
that is so crazy.
And I can just keep saying this up and down, but I do. There's a part of me that really does feel bad for him because we're gonna get mad at him for gambling, and then right after that, it's gonna be sponsored by DraftKings. Use code Sorsby. Exactly. You get $10 in bonus bets. Like, it's just like, okay,
Sorsby.
here we
Oh,
go.
it's
We're an addict.
Sorsby.
Let's just put something in front of you. Like, okay, I got Sinatra. Let me put a piece of, like, a rotisserie chicken in front of her and be like, but
With
don't
the
eat
meat.
it while I'm gone. What is she going to do? No, she's going to eat that rotisserie chicken. That's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing with Brendan Sorsby. And, God, talk about degenerate. I mean, he's like a Romanian soccer.
Right. Yeah, he was. That's it. Like, you have a problem. He was betting on like Turkish soccer and just. I mean, it's crazy. But he might still be eligible. Other things, because I don't want to get cut off before the top of the hour. Top of the hour, we'll reset the NBA playoffs. Belichick in year 2 is a big story. We talked about the quarterbacks. We talked about Sorsby. Kyle Whittingham at Michigan. I know Kyle quite well. That's going to be interesting. Maybe the number one story, if there's a rival to the quarterbacks, and I don't really think there are because the quarterbacks are what they are and play the position they do, but Lane Kiffin at LSU. And I don't care if you're not a college football fan. Everybody knows who this guy is. And if you're an LSU fan, now you like him. But it's kind of like those players. Like, you don't want to like Ohtani. You don't want to like LeBron. But Lane Kiffin elicits this response out of every team that's not the team he's coaching. So everybody hates Lane Kiffin. So everybody is going to be tuned into LSU football this year because of Lane Kiffin. They want to see him fall on his face. LSU fans obviously want him to revive the program. But maybe number 2 after the quarterbacks, Lane Kiffin, would you say that at LSU this year?
Oh, man.
Everybody
that is
watching
just – yeah, I mean, it's been the craziest thing. Like, you're leaving, and then all the mess where he's like, oh, it's because Ole Miss was racist. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, okay, let's say, yes, the Rebels and everything, there's some interesting, there's some, why do we still have that? Yes, you can talk about that. But at the same time, I was like, no, you're just trying to save your ass because you've already been in, like, a lot of trouble. And watching him at LSU is going to be interesting. And now he's got Coach O there. Like.
That's wild, isn't it?
Where's Brian
That's
Kelly?
wild.
Just bring him back. Bring him back.
And then maybe the last one is Indiana. I think that what's going to happen this year is just Indiana's kind of – everybody's like, yeah, that was a cool story, moving on. Because if they dominate again this year, and I don't think they will to that level, but if they do, because they lost a lot of players in the draft, then everyone's going to be like, okay, it was a cool story because you sucked for so long. They were actually the losingest program of all time, and then they became great. Like, we're tolerant to a certain extent, but when you win too much and you stick it in our face – then I think that people are going to get upset. So there's that. All right, a little bit of college football for you. Let's get you caught up, though. The main story of the day, Knicks take a 2-zip lead over the Cavs and what's going on in the West as they resume things. Let's get into the NBA playoffs to kick off hour number 3. It's the Drake Toll Show. John Lund in for Drake. And, of course, Addie and Curtis are here as well. Ton of stuff in the 8 o'clock hour. Wonderful guest, NBA playoffs, Lund's last call. And remember, you can see it all live, lovely, on YouTube. Let's do it next. It's Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
This
Yes, thanks for joining us. John Lund in for Drake on this Friday, May 22nd. We hope you are doing outstanding and you have a great long weekend. However, you are accessing the show. We are on Drake's YouTube channel, along with Curtis and Addie. Sirius XM 375, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not millions, of radio stations all across the country and Canada. However you are accessing, I would suggest Westwood1Sports.com, where you can download the Westwood One Sports app and you can get all the shows all day long, like in an hour from now. Nick Costas and You Better You Bet, the Jim Rome Show, Black and Abdallah, all the great shows. Sports Night, which I'm on the weekends. So any of those shows you can access all through, and you can get the podcast with the Westwood One Sports app. So thanks for hanging out with us. 1 hour to go on the Drake Toll Show. Lots of great stuff. In about 20 minutes, Tim Reynolds is going to join us. NBA playoffs, the Heat. We were talking about rumors around the NBA, so we'll talk to Tim. He's based in Florida, and we'll get all sorts of conversations going with him. Also get an update on the Western Conference playoffs. Jalen Williams is out. How could that affect that series? So we'll get into that. And then Lund's last call. And Addie just gave us a news story, which I'm not going to let out. But I'm just going to say that there's a restaurant that is rebranding itself. Not going to work. Not going to work. And all these other stories, including something I sent Addie yesterday that is going to extend the life of one Sinatra the cat. And we've got to discuss that at some point as well. By the way, without giving away too much, did that excite you? That story that I sent you that's going to extend Sinatra's life?
It's just so funny because, I mean, she will be receiving this. We'll talk about it last segment, and she's right here, actually. She's listening.
But is she, you said she's 8?
She's
8?
9.
9. Okay. not gonna. Yeah, that's good.
I don't like thinking about
cats
that.
live like twice as long as that.
Yeah, but she's fat.
So
she has asthma.
Well, see, but here's the problem with an indoor cat like that, because a dog, like our dog's fat, like, and you can't help it sometimes. Like, I don't feed the dog food, but we have kids and they do, and my wife does, and my wife always says she doesn't. And I look at my wife and I go, I promise we'll get to NBA playoffs in a second, but this is far more important. And so I look at my wife and I say, well, why does the dog then, every time we eat, go straight to you and just stare at you like, I'm waiting. You always give me food. Like, what's going on? Why aren't you giving me food now? And it's because if I'm watching, the dog doesn't get food. But my point is that they told us when we got the dog that it wouldn't be any more than 50 pounds. Well, now the thing's like 64. For a human being 14 pounds overweight, that's not ideal. But for a dog, it's obese. Like, so our dog is fairly obese. And so I take it out walking all the time. But you can't do that with an indoor cat. Like, who walks a cat? Nobody walks a cat, do they?
She has a stroller, but she's not getting exercise. She's just sitting in there I'm the one getting the exercise. That's the problem. And then she'll run around with the other cat in the apartment, and then I hear her wheezing because she's fat. But she's on a diet. She's on weight management food, but here's the problem. Is our other cat is sort of a kitten, so she has kitten food, which is high in fat. And so Sinatra, when she hears that bowl go off, she's like, oh, it's time to eat. Let me just, and so she'll run over there. And I'm not always home when that bowl goes off. So, of course, Sinatra's getting, she's like a hobbit.
Right.
She lifted her head up, by the way. She's like, F you.
Talk about me. You know what it is? It's very human-like. Because if you go on a diet, what people do is they'll eat their little diet food and everything like that. And you're only, dietitians will tell you this all the time. You're not bothering me about it. You're just killing yourself. And then what you do is people will sneak downstairs and they'll bust out, like, the gallon of Rocky Road. And they're like, well, nobody saw me do that. Well, nobody else cares but you. Like, what did you eat yesterday? I ate diet food. I don't know why I'm not losing weight. And it's like, well, yeah, because you busted out the Rocky Road at 1:30 in the morning. And you thought nobody was looking, but your body was looking. You ate it. True story.
Week, my roommate's fine with me talking about this because she left the bag, like her takeout, like on the floor, like by the trash can, like, because she was like, it didn't fit in the trash can, whatever. And in the morning, I hear a bag rip, and I go in there. Sinatra ate almost an entire, like, chicken thigh, bones included. She ate the bones. So, of course, now I got to babysit this cat all day because she's just yakking up bones. I'm like, great, Sinatra, you're going to die. But the problem is, even if I give her the healthy food, the diet food, like, she ate a rotisserie chicken.
The rotisserie chicken was probably as big as the cat. I mean, that's getting after it. You eat a rotisserie chicken, you're getting after it.
I created
Human being eats a rotisserie chicken. That's getting after it. Just saying.
She looks like a rotisserie chicken.
Can you put a picture on there, please? The only thing that'll take a guy's focus off you is maybe if you put up the rotund. To be honest, that's a good looking cat. What was she trying to eat there?
Crab rangoon.
I was just gonna say, looked like she was eating a rotisserie chicken right there.
That rag.
Can I see that again? Seriously, I don't think I've ever seen a cat more focused on food than that cat was. Right
so
there.
It's a running joke,
like,
but she does get stuck in her kitty litter box, and Addie has to update me every day it happens.
She does.
She just can't fit out. She can't get herself out of it.
Yeah, so then I hear her banging
that
on
she's
the wall.
big or that she's not smart? Which one?
Yes.
Both.
Yes to both.
Yeah, my roommate will hear me because I'll be working and it'll be during a break. I'm like, figure it out, Sinatra. Figure it out.
The cat's like, and it's in there wheezing. I can't get out. I'm too fat to get out, and I can't breathe. Does that pretty much cover it?
We call her Piggy.
She's a little.
Well, your cat needs that shot. We're going to talk about it 40 minutes past the hour. I just did that right now. I can transition to the NBA in this way. So there was when I first started covering the league, there was a player on the Utah Jazz, and they would weigh him in every day, and it was in his contract. And there was McDonald's next to their facility. And so he would weigh in, and I think he was a big dude. He was like 7 feet tall. And I think his weigh-in weight was supposed to be like 280. And he never could hit it. So then they finally put him on one of those things where it's like, okay, you're going to write down everything you eat all day long. He's like, okay. But he couldn't lose weight. In fact, he was gaining weight. So they sit down with him, and they say, okay, are you sure you're writing everything down that you're eating? And he said, and he didn't count this. He goes, well... He goes, that I can't resist the McDonald's that's next to the facility. So what he would do is he would come into the facility, he would weigh in, and then the next day, and then when he left the facility, after he's like, oh, okay, I weighed in, he would buy like 6 to 8 Big Macs. Now remember, we're talking about a 7-foot, 280-pound guy. He would, and just to get himself home, he'd eat like 6 Big Macs. And he'd come in the next day, and they're like, dude, what's going on? And he nonchalantly just finally said, well, I do stop by McDonald's and get like a sack of Big Macs and I go home, but I don't count that. They're like, dude, you don't count that. Those are like 3,000 calories a piece. You're like, we're keeping you on an X amount of calorie diet. And then you're mowing 6 Big Macs on the way home and acting like, it's a piece of gum. And so they figured the whole thing out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that counts.
So
Yeah,
also,
that counts.
Lord knows what's in those burgers. They did those like little studies where they leave them out for like 20 years and it looks exactly the same. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, not good.
Also, a sack is a wild unit of measurement for this.
Yeah, sack is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could have got the big arch. You could have had a sack of arch.
Big
arch.
Gooner.
You could have a sack of arch. Very nice. Very well done by you. All right. So I thought we would transition to the NBA. That didn't work out so well, but there was NBA playoffs last night. The Knicks take a 2-zip lead on Cleveland. I didn't think there was a hangover effect. I was kind of watching for that, and we all know what around here, if we know anything, it's hangovers. And there was no hangover effect, I didn't think. I think the Knicks were just better. Game was close for a long time. Knicks kind of turned up the defense. Donovan Mitchell was good for Cleveland. James Harden was not. He wasn't awful, but 6 of 15. He was just okay. He scored 18 points. He's just never going to step up. Brunson was good. The Knicks were good. At this point, I get it. Cleveland can come home. They can get back in this series. I'm not saying they can't. But to this point, it looks like the Knicks out of the East. And then the West style of things, and we'll see this tonight, it moves over to San Antonio. I was a big believer that Oklahoma City was going to win this series, but I think it hedges on, is Jalen Williams going to play? Because Oklahoma City didn't lose a game, and he was missing games, and it didn't really matter. But I think in this series, San Antonio is so good that if Jalen Williams doesn't play in this series, who's basically the Robin to the Batman, and I know a lot of guys step up for Oklahoma City. They're deep, and they're good, and a lot of guys can't step up. But I just think if they don't have Jalen Williams, who tweaked his hamstring again, I don't think that Oklahoma City can win this series. So as we look at this thing right now, is it Knicks Spurs, Knicks OKC? Does it, in your mind, is it about Jalen Williams? How do you see where we are right now in both sides of this?
Man, and I know other people have said this, but like this is the series that I want to see. No matter what, whether it's OKC versus the Knicks or if it's Spurs versus the Knicks, this is going to be, I think this series is going to be more exciting. I mean, game 1 was insane. It was awesome. But when you're missing a key component of your team in these high leverage situations, that actually is worrisome. So actually, honestly, what I think it's going to be, I do think it's going to be Spurs versus Knicks. I just like the Spurs team a little bit more. I think the Thunder are good. I do think they're a great team. But man, there's something about the Spurs team that if any team who has Victor Wembanyama, and I know it's not just one person versus everyone, but if you put Victor Wembanyama on the Cavs, I'm like, oh, the Cavs are going to win it all. Like I love Victor Wembanyama enough to where I'm like, yeah, I do think it's going to be Spurs versus Knicks. And the Knicks are a good team. But yeah, I do think the Williams injury is important here.
Yeah, I think it's huge. The other thing is, and I don't know if this will continue to be a thing, but when I first started covering the NBA, I just got lucky, and they assigned me I was in Utah. They assigned me the Bulls locker room, and I can't remember if it was 97 or 98. I think it was 98, and Karl Malone won the MVP over Michael Jordan. And every single press conference, without exception, Jordan would be asked a question, and he would turn it into, well, Karl Malone's the MVP, not me. Karl Malone's the MVP, not me. And it's not that Michael Jordan needed additional focus or motivation to win an NBA championship because that's what he was all about. But he used it as fire. And Wemby used it in game 1 and scored the 41, and he admitted afterwards that, yeah, it burned at me. If I'm the Spurs, if I'm a player, if I'm a front office guy, if I'm the head coach, if I'm a trainer, I don't care. If I'm part of the Spurs, I would, in fact, if I was the head coach of the Spurs, I would go to multiple members and multiple players and say, will you remind Wemby today that he didn't win MVP,
Yes.
that SGA won it? Because it seemed to just spur him, and I know it did Jordan back in that era, and just because I want him to be pissed every single game. And him and Chet Holmgren don't get along, so I don't know that it's going to have to be done. And I don't know, there's many people out there that probably think to themselves, look, if he's not motivated at this point, then what are we doing? But I think for young players, I think just having that extra edge could help them a little bit. And look, I don't know what guys were thinking when they voted for SGA. And maybe it's my annoyance and him falling down on every shot he takes. But both ends of the floor, this dude is sports writers, in voters, we get bored of making the same guy MVP. But honestly, Wemby's at the point where he might be able to win this thing 5 times in a row if we were betting legitimately or if we were voting legitimately. He's the best player in the game. He's a unicorn.
No, yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible. And what's interesting is when you look at SGA, yes, the one who won MVP, flopping, all this kind of stuff. But yes, I agree. That kind of lit a fire under Wemby. Wemby. That is what he is, honestly. Under Wemby, because, you're the better player. I think he's the better player. You didn't win this. And now you're like, oh, this is the guy who won it? Yeah, of course. Of course it's going to be a heated rivalry. That's amazing. That's what we love in sports is this kind of stuff. And so, yeah, unless SGA can actually get his stuff together and not just flop every other play. And, that's why people are like, oh, how is he scoring so many points? Just watch the game. Just watch the game. I mean, come on. This guy should be shooting 100% on his free throws at this point. But Wemby, golly, yeah. And what's so funny about him is he just seems so mild-mannered, and I love him so. Again, he was training with monks. Who else does that? Who else does that if you're not Bruce Wayne and Batman Begins? Who else does that? He just has that drive that I feel like we're missing with a lot of the star players in the NBA. It's more than just money for him. It is more than just wanting to cash a check, and I think that's what's actually going to help him the most here.
Yeah, and I think he's a throwback in the way that he wants to be already at his young age. He wants to go down in history. He does care about legacy. I think all that kind of stuff. I hate the conversation of what's his legacy, but that's he seems to already think to himself, I want to win multiple MVPs, and I'm going to come out and say it. And I think it matters. I think at the end of the season we said, look, I'm the best player. And I thought to myself, you know what? You are the best player. You play on both ends. Nobody affects the game like you do. Nobody offensively has the versatility that you do inside, outside. The 3 hit in game number 1, the Curry shot basically, from the spot that Curry hit the shot. Just what he's doing. He's the most dominant player in the game. And sometimes what happens is, as a media, we don't catch up to it. We're a year late on catching up to it or whatever. It's really easy, low-hanging fruit to say best team, best player, SGA. To me, I'm not going to say it's the last time he's going to win it, but I think a lot of people who voted are looking at this series going, okay, SGA's great. Nobody's taking it away from him, but Wemby's the best player on the floor. And now he's motivated. He wants to go down in history. He wants to win multiple championships. He's not shy about it. He has a streak that I didn't know he had. You kind of just mentioned it. He's nasty. I mean, he's flat out nasty. He hates Holmgren. He doesn't like OKC. He doesn't, he's kind of taking it personally. And while the Cavs and the Knicks, don't get me wrong, that's a good series, this one's hatred. And we like that.
Yeah.
They don't like each other. And it kind of starts with Wemby. He does not like these dudes. He's not making anything about it. All right, let's get to our guest today. Even though we had a guest in the first hour, our one caller of the day who was amazing, and he went off for 5 minutes, so it was kind of like a guest. But Tim Reynolds is going to join us coming up next, NBA writer for the Associated Press. He's out of Miami, so we can get into the heat a little bit, but he is also covering the series between the Thunder and the Spurs. So let's get deep into the Thunder and the Spurs. We'll do that with Tim Reynolds coming up next. And then don't miss it at 40 minutes past the hour. Before we get out of here and turn it over to Nick Costos and You Better You Bet at the top of the hour, we've got Lund's Last Call, and we just added something. Plus, there's not that we haven't done a little bit of cat discussion today, but big cat discussions, lots of different things. We call it Lund's Last Call, and we'll do that at 40 past the hour. John Lund in for Drake, only here on Western One Sports and the Western One Sports app.
coming home. Feels so good today. Well, I'm walking my blues away. I'm walking my blues away. My baby's coming home. Feels so good today. Well, when you talk about the blues, I know what you're talking about. When you talk about the blues, I know what it's all about. My baby's coming home, and I'm gonna wear her out. Well, I'm dancing my blues away. Yes, I'm dancing my blues away. My baby's coming home, feels so good today. When you talk about the blues, I know what you're talking about. When you talk about the blues, I know what it's all about. My baby's coming home, and I'm gonna wear her out. Yes, I'm dancing my blues away. Yes, I'm dancing my blues away. My baby's coming home, feels so good today. Well, I'm walking my blues away. Yes, I'm walking my blues away. My baby's coming home, feels so good today. Well, I'm dancing my blues away. Yes, I'm dancing my blues away. My baby's coming home, feels so good today.
What's happening? Thanks for joining us. Drake Toll Show, John Lund in for Drake. He'll be back on Tuesday. Remember, Memorial Day on Monday. Lund's last call coming up in about 40 minutes past the hour. But let's talk to our friend Tim Reynolds. He's Miami-based, NBA writer for the Associated Press, but also covers lots of things in Miami, like the Heat, the Panthers, the Canes, and much more. He's also covering the series between OKC and the Spurs. Please make sure that you're following Tim. You'll be smarter because of it, by Tim Reynolds. And Tim joins us on the Drake Toll Show here on Westwood One Sports. Hi, Tim. How are you?
Morning, John. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it. Let's start with this OKC Spurs series. We were just talking about it. It kind of seems like a bit of a throwback, and it's, certainly nothing against the Knicks and the Cavs series, but it seems like there is some old school kind of hatred in this series. Wemby doesn't like Chet. There kind of seems to be some stuff going on with that. What in covering the series? What is the vibe like in this series between these two teams?
Yeah, there's definitely a little tension. I think that's fair to say. Here in one corner, if you will, you got the Thunder, the defending champs, the best team again this year, 64 wins, but they went 1-4 against the Spurs in the regular season. And, Wemby is not afraid to speak his mind. And he pointed out on several occasions when given the opportunity that he felt that the Spurs controlled that season series. And, it was a couple different incarnations of the Thunder lineup, but for the most part, let's be fair, the Thunder had their guys for the most part. I mean, Jalen Williams, who missed most of the year, played in 4 of those 5 games. So the Spurs had a reason to feel to do the talking, I guess, a little bit coming into the series. I think that ruffled some Thunder feathers, and we've seen some pretty good theater in the first 2 games of this series, I think largely because of that.
Hey, Tim, you mentioned Jalen Williams, and they were fine without him. Really deep team, obviously, Shea, and then a bunch of guys, and everybody would kind of step up throughout this process without him, but he tweaked that hamstring again. Where are we with that, and how would, in your mind, if he can't come back or if he's limited, how does it affect the series to you?
I think it goes right back to A.J. Mitchell. And the ironic part is, they've, Williams has 26 in game 1 and plays great. Played a lot more minutes than the Thunder expected him to play in that game because the game went a lot more minutes than the Thunder expected it to go. A double overtime game. They were sort of, betwixt and between on what to do with Jalen Williams. I don't think that had anything to do with what happened in game 2. Hamstrings are tricky. It didn't even look like he took any bad steps. It just looked like the hamstring decided to, remind Jalen Williams that it was there. They're saying day to day, they're saying questionable. I just can't see that a guy who tweaks a hamstring comes back and plays 2 nights later. I just can't see it. This is strictly a guess. I wouldn't expect him to go tonight. So you have the Alex Caruso, who is, perfect for what the Thunder do in the playoffs. The guy doesn't score in the regular season, at any sort of consistent level. And the Spurs have been helping off him, much in the same way that the Cavs left Josh Hart open last night. You've seen a lot of that with Alex Caruso in the first couple of games. Will the Spurs adjust their coverage on Alex Caruso tonight and going forward? And then A.J. Mitchell was great in the 6 playoff games without Jalen Williams in rounds 1 and 2. A.J. Mitchell was like a 20-point scorer. Can he get back to that groove? It has not been the same A.J. Mitchell in games 1 and 2 of this series. Can we get back to what A.J. Mitchell was in 1 and 2 tonight and potentially going forward for the Thunder?
Tim Reynolds is joining us. Make sure you're following him by Tim Reynolds. He's covering the OKC San Antonio series. He's also based in Miami, so we'll get into a little bit of that in a second. Drake Toll Show with John Lund here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. As far as Wemby is concerned, and I remember I was just telling this story. I was covering the Bulls and Jazz in '98 when Karl Malone won the MVP. And there wasn't a press conference that went on where Michael Jordan didn't say, well, I'm not the MVP. It was Karl Malone. He said that over and over and over. And we saw the 41 in game number 1. How much of that do you think was that fire, and is he going to kind of carry that throughout this entire series, that he's upset that SGA won it and not him?
It obviously carried him in game one. I think Victor finds enough inspiration in anything. I don't think it's the MVP thing so much going forward. Tonight it will be that he gets to play a Western Conference Finals game for the first time at home and gets to see what that building is like, when the lights are this bright. I think that will be enough for him tonight. What will the motivation be on Sunday? To be determined. He always finds it in something. He made his point on MVP. He made his point in the regular season. He made his point many times, including a night in Miami where I was, talked at length with a lot of reporters that night about what goes into MVP and how is it defined and how much do you value defense in the equation. And, it was a really unique, he's obviously a unique body type, puts up unique numbers, plays the game a unique way, has a one-of-a-kind story, but he's also a really special thinker. So I think he made his point on MVP. Tonight it's going to be they're home. They're a little ticked off about how game 2 went. That'll be enough inspiration for Vic, and then he'll figure out what to use in games 4 and 5 and beyond.
I think that's a really good point by you. And he almost seems like, to me, that he's a bit of a throwback in that way, that we knew what he was. Well, a lot of people did when he came over and how special he was going to be. And like you said, his body type and all that thing. But I don't think that we know that he had this kind of fire about him, like you said. I don't know, I wouldn't call it Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan quite yet, but he seems to have that kind of a streak. And I don't know, I don't want to call it hatefulness because I don't think it's that, but just a real competitive spirit. Is that fair to say that maybe that was something we didn't know about him until maybe the Spurs got as competitive as they have been?
Oh, I don't think it existed. But again, I think it didn't exist because we've seen the transformation from boy to man. And that's, still a young man. Obviously, his parents are always around. At least one of his parents are always around. It's he's still a kid in some respects, sure. But when the world first started learning about Victor, the first time I saw him play in France, he was 16. He was very different, obviously, because he was 16. This is 22-year-old Vic now, and that's an awful lot of changing. That period, those 6 years for any of us, you go from kid to adult. At least some of us did. It took me into my 30s, but a lot of us grow up in those 6 years, and that's what you're seeing with Vic. You're seeing a maturation. I think if you are a Spurs fan or a Victor fan, you hear him as portraying confidence. And if you are a Thunder fan or a non-Wemby fan, you are hearing him portray arrogance. And that's the line. And I don't think he cares what side of the fence you're on. He knows that he's beloved in a lot of places. A lot of fans around the world love hearing him be so open and so honest about his thoughts. I do think he's a little bit guarded, but not that much, if that makes any sense. Like, if he's got something to say, he's going to say it. He's never been, I don't think he's ever gone over the line. I don't think he's ever been belligerent. I think Spurs fans absolutely love the confidence that he exudes. I think his teammates also love the confidence that he exudes. And if that rubs some people the wrong way, well, that's just the price of doing business, I think, as a star in this league.
Yeah, I think he's going to be really special. Tim Reynolds is joining us at by Tim Reynolds. Oklahoma City and the Spurs, obviously a huge series, and in the East, the Knicks and the Cavs. But let me jump to the offseason real quick, just because you're based out of Miami, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier. This could be a really interesting offseason with lots of guys moving, or it could be, hey, lots of talk, lots of hot air, and then nothing. But the Heat seem to be in the middle of everything, and some people even think it's going to be the ultimate destination for Giannis. What do you think on that front? And do you think we're going to have this busy offseason where it's Jalen and where LeBron goes and obviously Giannis and all this different stuff? Or do you think it's going to be more talk than action?
I think there will be more. There can't possibly be more action than there's been talk.
Right.
There's been so much. Not every guy in the league is going to get moved this summer. So a talk will win over action, I think, in the total score. I mean, I do think Giannis will get moved. I think Jimmy Haslam came out and basically just said it. If you just listen to what the man said, this is going to be resolved by draft night. The situation in Milwaukee, will Giannis stay or go? The only way to resolve it before draft night is to trade him. That's it. He's not extension eligible until the fall. So now that they can sign him to a new deal in the next few weeks, every indication is they are going to start over. And they're going to start over with a haul of players and a haul of draft picks. And, obviously a new coach already in place. Doc Rivers out, Taylor Jenkins back in Milwaukee where he's worked before. I absolutely get the sense that he's going to get moved. I don't know what the full market will be for Giannis. He is, he's not 25 anymore. I do think that the repeated calf issues the last few years with Giannis, that's going to give some people some pause. Now, obviously, if you have a chance to put Giannis on your team, you put Giannis on your team. Calf issues, early 30s, whatever it is, he still makes you so much better. He's still Giannis. He's still one of very few in the league that I think that have the potential to be absolutely elite every single night. It's a no-brainer to bring him onto your team. It's the cost. What is he going to cost you in whatever the last year of this extension will be in this new contract? Can you risk giving Giannis $65 or $70 million at 35, 36 years old? You have a lot to factor in. You have your existing contracts to factor in. In Miami, it's going to be how do you pay both Bam, Giannis, and then a supporting cast around them, because those two guys, while very, very good, they're not good enough on their own to win a title. And, the days of bringing in guys like the Heat did in 2010, even though LeBron and Chris Bosh technically became sign and trades, that was free agency. And as we all know, those days are pretty much over. You need a dance partner. If you're going to make a big trade, if Pat Riley and Andy Ellisberg and the Heat are going to make a splash, they need a dance partner. Will it be the Bucks with Giannis? I get the feeling that yes, it will be. But if it's not, there's going to be enough other movement out there. I think the Celtics will take a look at Jalen Brown. And that's not a hot take. I think everybody kind of knows that already. Mm-hmm. What happens if Cleveland loses this series in 4 or 5 games? Does Donovan Mitchell say, you know what, Cleveland, I tried it. It's been fun. I got to move on. There will be other movement. There's going to be 29 ultimately disappointed teams when somebody raises the trophy here in a few weeks. And the Thunder won't blow it up. The Spurs won't blow it up. I don't see the Knicks blowing it up. If this series keeps going the way it's going, I could see Cleveland trying to do something substantial, whether it's adding or subtracting pieces. I could see that. Otherwise, there's always going to be names out there, but it's, now that we've gone through the draft lottery, the talks are really picking up. Teams know exactly what they have for draft capital now. There wasn't any huge surprises in the lottery except maybe the Clippers, lucking into that 5th pick a little bit and basically winning a coin flip with Indiana to get that 5th pick that would have been Indiana's had it not been for the Zubac trade. I think draft night will be crazy. I think it'll be so crazy that we're going to stop caring about the draft by about the 2nd or 3rd pick. I think that's where your movement is going to be, is on draft night.
Yeah, plus it's such a deep draft, so that could affect everything. Tim, great insight, man. We really appreciate it. Thank you. We know you're traveling, so thanks for making the time for us. We appreciate it this morning. Great stuff.
Take care, man. Thank you.
You too. By Tim Reynolds. You can tell. Make sure that you're following him. He's covering the OKC San Antonio series, which is going to be great. I think it's just starting. I think this thing is going to get nasty. I think San Antonio's going to win it, and he mentioned it. Jalen Williams, their second best scorer, they could get through other teams without Jalen Williams. They're that deep of a team, and guys have stepped up, but they haven't stepped up to that level at least yet against San Antonio. And just like you said, a hamstring is tricky, man. You may want to play, but that's one of the injuries where you just can't shoot that up or something like that. So I don't think Jalen Williams is going to play tonight either. and that's going to give San Antonio a huge edge on that. So great stuff by Tim Reynolds. All right, let's do this. We got Lund's last call coming up next. We came up with 5 great ones today. We've been talking about the cat and extending the cat life. We got that. We got a slot machine story that's unbelievable. Let's see. I think this is. I got a great Joey Chestnut story because Joey Chestnut had a thing yesterday. It allows me to tell this Joey Chestnut story, and I think we had one restaurant story that we just got that we absolutely positively have to do. So you cannot miss it. Lund's last call. We'll do it next. John in for Drake on a Friday right here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
She thinks she missed the train to Mars. She's out back counting stars. She thinks she missed the train to Mars. She's out back counting stars.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Happy Friday. Happy Memorial Day weekend, by the way, to everybody. Drake Toll Show. John Lund in for Drake. Drake will be back on Tuesday. He's with the Bananas. Westwood One Sports, Westwood One Sports app, and Drake's YouTube channel. If you missed it, you can go back. That's why you can also download the Westwood One Sports app. Top of the hour, by the way. Curtis remains, by the way. Curtis remains. Addie and I go take naps. Curtis remains. Nick Costas, You Better, You Bet, top of the hour. Black and Abdallah, Jim Rome, all the great shows. Make sure that you download the app so that you can listen to all of the podcasts if you missed anything. And like I said, you can go to Drake's YouTube channel and check it out as well. All right, let's do this. The final 5 things you have to know to be a protective member of society on this Friday. We call it Lund's Last Call when Drake is not here.
It's time for Lund's Last Call.
All right. So, Addie, I sent you this yesterday. I thought you would be excited. There is now, and by the way, this took over my feed yesterday. It's an injection that can double a cat's lifespan to 30 years. It says clinical trials have begun with a regulatory approval projected in 2027. But then there's small print that says, unless your cat is fat and wheezing already. No, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that part.
I was like, Ozempic? Is there Ozempic? And then can we do this? Yes, Sinatra's
So,
gonna... yeah.
How much would you pay, by the way? I'm just curious. Like, is there a number each? Because your cat is 9, so that would actually triple its life to this point. Like, is there a number where they said, okay, it's $1,000, you went okay, and if it was $5,000, you'd say no? Or is this just an unlimited thing? Because you're not a cat lady or anything like that, but a lot of people, like, if we've spent a lot on our dog, like a ridiculous amount on our dog, more than I've ever spent on a dog. So, number 1, are you excited about it? And number 2, would there be a limit on it for you?
Oh, man, that's difficult. Because she's like my, people say like soulmates and soul pets. Like, she is my soul cat. Like, that is like, I've had other cats in the past, but Sinatra and I, like, we're like this. That's my girl. I paid $50 for on Craigslist, gently used. Like, that's my cat. And so, yeah, if you know what? If it's actually safe, there's nothing wrong. Sinatra, you're going to live. She's going to be like, oh, hell. Like, Sinatra, you're going to live another 20 years. Rotisserie chickens out the wazoo. You're here to stay. $5,000, though, I might have to start a GoFundMe. I think the chat, I think Daily, our mom, I think
people would absolutely.
Drunkle, West Coast Pine, they would all, yes.
Yeah. People would absolutely throw in for that. I'd throw in some.
What is the Drake Toll Show without Sinatra? Big Sid. Like, what?
Right.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be nearly as effective if, like, Sinatra was stuffed or something like that. It just wouldn't work.
I do make that joke.
We don't need taxidermy. You know what I mean? Just like let's keep the cat alive for the sake of the show.
I do make that joke. I'll be like, I'll take it to Build-A-Bear and just put the.
Curtis, your thoughts on the cat getting the shot? Are you behind this?
I only have one thing to say.
I doubled the size of it, you dumb person.
Oh, that means you probably have to do. Come on, Addie has to now do the Trump impersonation.
They have the shot. They have the shot. Wow, it's supposed to make Sinatra live forever. I said forever. I will live forever. You know what? Sinatra 2030. Sinatra 2028. She'll be here. You can't get rid of her.
Maybe I'll be here
forever.
What?
He would take the shot. I'm going to be here. I'm going to take the shot. I'm going to live 30 more years. Yeah, I mean, it took over, by the way, this took over my feed yesterday. Like, everybody was like, I'm going to give it to my cat 1,000 times. Like, cat ladies were like, my cat's going to live 1,000,000 years. I'm like, oh, my God, this is insane. People were like, where is it for a dog? It was just, this thing went crazy. So that's number 5. The cat will live 30 more years. Let me go to this one. Did you guys see this yesterday? This was amazing for those who were upset with Oklahoma City and the Thunder and their diving. They set this up where Dylan Brooks, who's now become the ultimate villain. You remember the game Operation? And so you would take this little piece of tweezers, and then if you hit the side, the guy's nose would go red and go, eh. Yes. So they basically adapted that game, but they made the board like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's body was basically the Operation thing. And then they put little basketballs in the thing, and you had to try to get the basketball out, and if you hit the side, it went eh, and it had like a sound effect, like a whistle sound effect. And so Dylan Brooks was playing it. So every time that you hit the side, you fouled Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. amazing. You have to look it up. It was
That's
all over the feed
amazing.
yesterday. Yeah, and he was the one there. And I know a lot of people don't like Dylan Brooks, but the fact that like he showed up at the Lakers' final game, was sitting under the basket, like he is so embraced this like villain role. It is actually pretty cool. And even if you don't like him, even if you don't like the Suns, even if you don't like him you didn't like him with Houston or Memphis or whatever, that's funny. Like the whole operation game,
That
it was
is
Shai
awesome.
Gilgeous-Alexander, and instead of bones, it was basketballs.
Now, is it a big
was
naked
cool.
man with no privates?
They did
Many
have
people are
shorts on SGA. Yeah, if they're asking in the chat if that that didn't occur.
Big gooner.
But it was still pretty good. Let me get to this only because it's going to allow me to. I'm kind of taking them out of order, but I don't really care. I just want to get to certain stories. So there's a story on. Everybody knows who Joey Chestnut is, the hot dog king and competitive eating king. So he's the 17-time winner of the Nathan's Famous International Hot Dog Eating Contest. He's going to compete on July 4th while on probation after he pled guilty to a misdemeanor battery charge. Okay, so that just allows me to tell you this story. So you both know this. Remember when at the beginning of the year, I don't know if they're still doing this in ballparks, but they tried to do the 9 and 9, and they had like a quarter of a hot dog, and then they had like a giant beer. It wasn't a true 9 and 9. And for people who don't know what that is, you have to eat a full hot dog and drink a full beer every inning for 9 innings.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's the true one. Well, he's based out of Northern California, and a few years ago, I was at a game. I know him a little bit, where I'm not saying we're hanging out. I'm not buddies. I'm not dropping names. And he did the 9 and 9. And I think I had 2 hot dogs, and, I can down some beers. It's not easy. And he acts like it's nothing. Like, he did it, just like, he inhales the hot dog, drinks the beer, and then he just keeps talking to you. Like, it takes 3 seconds. And he did the 9 and 9 like it was nothing. He could probably do 3 beers and 3 dogs, maybe 5 in an inning. But he's a machine. Now, I know everybody knows that, but to see it up close and personal, like, he could be talking to you with a full hot dog in his mouth.
That's so crazy.
And like, it's nothing.
That challenge, like,
Pretty
I've said
impressive.
I've said it before. I did that at a Phillies-Astros game, and I got through 3 hot dogs and 6 tall boys, and then I had to sober up at the casino.
Wait a minute.
Eddie Bates
Wait a
Glizzy
minute.
Goblin.
This is probably going to take us to the end of the show. You did 3 dogs, 3 beers, which, by the way,
No,
people are like,
6
I could do that.
6
Try
tall
it.
boys.
It's
6 tall
not
boys.
easy.
I did 6 tall boys.
Like over 6 foot?
Like, I did like a tall boy each inning, and then I was like, I can't do it. Yeah.
I think she missed that, Curtis.
Joey Loperfido,
touch yourself.
Arch Manning out there, Hunter Brown, yeah.
So you did 3 beers, 3 tall boys,
6
the
tall
beers,
boys.
6 and 3 dogs and 3 innings, and then you decided, hey, I need a place to sober up. Where can I do that?
The casino.
At casino.
The casino.
But a ballroom.
And you sobered up at a
Double the
casino.
size of it, you dumb person.
Yeah, and I won money because I had to sober up
Without
before.
But you didn't drink.
No. I was just
You
being a
sobered up at
degenerate.
the
I was
casino.
Brendan Sores. I was just, bong, on the slots. Yeah, just have to be on the slots.
Touch yourself.
All right. That's fine. By the way, I do have a slot story. I'm going to see if I can, again, slot story. Let me say that slow. This is in Sacramento, California. Guy won $381,000 playing dime slots. I've never heard of that. Anonymous player was playing dime slots. He had $8.80 playing dancing drums. Don't know if you've ever played dancing drums.
Nope.
But this is at Thunder Valley Casino Resort, and he hit $380,000. He started with a dime. Why can't that happen to me? Started with a dime.
Look at you
I
now
thought those
on the
guys-
Drake Toll Show.
That's unbelievable. $380,000. Unbelievable. And finally, one more to get to 5. A waitress was arrested after locking a table of 8 inside a private dining room at a place called Maggiano's, which is an Italian place.
Yeah.
They had a $784 bill. They tipped 0, so she locked them in the dining room. Is that okay? If you don't tip on $784, can the server lock you in a dining room?
Well,
Fair?
I agree. I think so. Maybe they're doing this at Hooters, too. That is now family-friendly, by the way. Family-friendly Hooters.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. They can't do that. They
Rebranding
cannot
family-friendly.
do that. What are they going to call? Like, so what are the girls going to do? All of a sudden, it's just.
It's going to be.
That's not going to work.
Hotters.
Are they still going to have the wings? Are they still going to have the everything? But it's just going to be family friendly.
I'm just gonna say it. Their wings are good. I prefer them over Buffalo Wild
Wings
Wings.
are good.
Yeah,
my cousin went to Hooters every Easter's for like 3 years before he got married. So
that's what Jesus would want.
Very family friendly.
On Easter.
That's what Jesus would want. All right, there you go. That's it. That's the Drake Tell Show with me, John Lund. Drake's back Tuesday. Curtis, enjoy. Continue. Go get a nap. Go check Sinatra to make sure she's not eating all the food. It's been a great time. Thanks, you guys. As always, good time had by all. John Lund on Westwood One Sports. Curtis continues with
This is Westwood One Sports.